Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Jarvis's Corner on MUFC Realist TV. I am your host, Jarvis Cocker, and with me tonight I have Stu Woolley, Tom Journalist One, and Poppy Botswana Poppy. So tonight will be a great show for you, and we will have a big debate on Wan Bissaka and the players who don't want to leave. They are holding the club for a ransom. They want to be paid to leave Man United. They have no ambitions. They just want money. And I want to discuss this thing, and I want to have a big debate with the panel and with you guys in the VAR room. It's going to be a great show, so stay tuned after the intro. See you in a second.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to...
Good evening, Reds, and welcome to Jarvis's Corner. With me tonight as my co-host, I have Mr. Stu Woolley in the house. How are you doing, Stu?
I am all right. I still love that intro. Still gives me, still sends shivers down the old spine, dude, when that comes on. No, dude, I'm pretty well. I've had a good day, really. Nice and relaxed. The sun's still, well, the weather's beautiful still in England. It's a bit overcast, but it's still very warm, so it's all good. It's all good. Looking forward to the show. Actually, I think we've got an important subject to cover.
Yes.
And I see the VAR room. Big welcome to the VAR room. They're absolutely livid about it, which is good. England have been brilliant today, or Great Britain, so to say. We won track medal today. Plus a couple of extra goals.
Really, congratulations!
We've had a good day in the Olympics. And but we're suffering from a little bit of turmoil in the UK at the moment. There's a lot happening with certain areas of the country, which I don't particularly want to go into. But my message to everybody is calm the fuck down. Just please get along, because what you're doing, and I'm talking all ethnicities, is just not right. There are too many innocent people getting injured, too many businesses getting damaged. It's just not right at the moment. Everybody's got a right to protest. Just do it peacefully. My message is just grow the fuck up.
100%, Stu. No, it's 100%. Yeah, I totally agree. We even hear about it a lot in Norway now at the moment. It doesn't sound well, For me, I'm worrying about the football season. Are they going to postpone it? Is it going to be...
We're trying to... Yeah, the country is trying to carry on as normal, but what happens is you get a few mindless morons who follow. We have too many sheep in this world, actually, in the whole world. Too many sheep. Somebody stands up with a megaphone and he's apparently speaking sense. Absolute jokes. They really are jokes. Just look at your family and look at your friends. How would you feel if 2 or 3 people were beating up on them and smashing their livelihood to bits? Whatever your political beliefs are, whatever your personal beliefs are, whatever your religious beliefs are, you've got to bear in mind everybody's human. We all bleed the same, we all hurt the same, we cry the same. It's all bollocks. Do you know what I'm saying? My message is knock it off.
100%, Stu. 100%, I agree. So Well, that's ended. That's our point on what's going on in Britain at the moment. Speaking of the Olympics, I just want to say Norway also won a gold medal in, I think it's called the decathlon. Is that the name?
Oh, decathlon, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Norwegian guy. Never heard about him. He just came out of nowhere and just won the Olympic gold. So that's
what you want, isn't it? That's exactly what you want.
Usually we win 1 or 2 gold medals in one Olympic. So I'm happy with that. That's great. Next up, I want to introduce my first guest for the night. It's Mr. Botswana Bobby. Welcome to the show.
What's up, guys?
Hey man, how are you doing?
I'm trying to remain calm. I'm glad Stu talked about this situation that, is just so disheartening when you really, really look at it and you just say, is this what we have come to as a people? At the end of the day, I just want to remind everybody that we're all human beings. We're all the same. We all love our families and our relatives. And why are we going to be just sort of separated by man-made concepts that are just what are they called? What is the word that I'm searching for? That social constructs, basically. That you are this person, you are from this place, you're an immigrant, and at the end of the day, it's our Earth, our planet.
It is
only one race, and that's the human race. So at the end of the day, I wish everybody could look at it that way. But other than that aside, I'm happy that the Olympics are a good distraction. Yep. There is some really good things to watch over there. I've been watching the synchronized swimmers.
Why?
Not that I'm a swimmer myself, but hey, there's a lot of turmoil out there in the world. So any little privilege that you enjoy of just
absolutely
brings you some joy. Some great things for you, for you to just sort of enjoy. There's just a lot of different sports in the Olympics that I particularly like, and I'm happy. I'm happy that that's going on, and also there's the Man United news, which I'm sure we'll get into as the show goes. But yeah, other than that, I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Just a quickie on the team pursuit, by the way, for England today.
Okay.
We broke the world record 3 times.
Wow. 3 times.
3 races, 3 times we broke the world record. Wow. And we absolutely smashed New Zealand by, I think it was 0.5 of a second, something along there. It might have been half a second, I'm not quite sure, but we absolutely smashed them. So it's been absolutely brilliant, the Olympics this year. If you manage to look at it, some of the table tennis, for example, was just out of this world. The speed and the preciseness and the dexterity of the players was just out of this world. It really was. And I was watching our girl in the trampoline, and just sports we would never even look at, and how she overcome adversity from 12 months ago to win. And it's just tremendous. Absolutely, absolutely tremendous. And of course, Steve McLaren. Learning Jamaican as we speak. I can't wait for his first press conference. It will be absolutely. I'd love him to come out in a traditional Jamaican hat and start trying to speak reggae. It'd be absolutely brilliant. I was listening to Paul Parker this morning, and while I was doing something, and he was saying that his dad has been in the country for a long, long time, and yet he still can't understand him on occasion. So absolutely brilliant. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Here's to Stevie M. Top man. Oh, and here's to Colin, by the way. Here's to Colin. Colin, congratulations and welcome.
Yes, Colin, a new member. Fantastic. Welcome to the team, Colin. Welcome to the Jarvis's Corner team. This is where everybody is friendly and welcome. This is where we discuss Man United and basically all the topics that's actual and up to date for today's current events.
And I tell you something, even Trevor Wade's welcome-ish, Well,
Yeah. Well, you're stretching it a little bit, but
I am stretching it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Trev's in the chat. We love you, Trev. You know that, mate.
Yes, Trevor.
Love you.
Where's my manners? I just want to say hi to the VAR room. So many legends in the house already. 69, dude. All of you, or 72 actually now.
72.
Yeah, the views are rising. We have Welsh Girl 68 in the house. Joe Blackman, Rushmano, Johnny K, John Kermode in the house. The big pepperoni pizza guy, Jale Malmin from Norway is here. Jamie Wayne, as always, supporting the channel. One of the legends, our moderators, Jamie Wayne. Lucky Singh with all its comments. Stay 147. G Wolf United Gaming. Big up, G Wolf.
Hey, well, hold on. Who said G Wolf could come in the chat?
Yeah,
What's going on here? We don't just let anyone in it. I know we let Trev in. I know that. Bloody G Wolf. Hi, G Wolf. Love you too, mate. You know that.
Yeah, and we have Colin McNamani. I think his name is very difficult to pronounce. Guys, can you help me out? How do you pronounce Colin's name?
I would say McMenamin, yes. Colin McMenamin.
Yeah, yes. Sorry for slating your name. You know, I don't have my glasses on, my reading glasses. I will just show you. Look at old Jarvis.
Jarvis, when you do that, you look like that guy, the Turkish guy that was really good at shooting in the Olympics. You know, like
yeah. McMenamin, Colin McMenamin, Trevor Wade, Jan Ligt here, Tommy Boyle 71. There's so many of you legends. Luan France, Luan France, full name, beautiful name. And as always, Duncan Belito, the Badger, with this beautiful Badger emoji, or a thumbnail, if you call it. Danny B is here. Who else? Lily's United, one of the biggest supporters of the channel. He always leaves the comments after the show. Helps out the algorithm. Tip to you guys, if you want to help the channel, leave a comment. And start with smashing the like if you haven't. Today, I want 100 likes. If you guys give me 100 likes, I will reveal a new menu chant at the end. And I will also sing it for you. But I need 100 likes. I will sing it for you.
Okay. Yeah, well, definitely. Hey, look, it's definitely get 100 likes in. 100%. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you don't mind me saying, I think Mark is also streaming on his channel, Jarvis, I believe.
Mark is streaming on his channel, and Mark will be in the back room co-streaming the show. And I just want to say a big up to Tom, Journalist 1. I'm so sorry, Tom. I didn't send you the link. It's my fault. Tom should have been here 10 o'clock sharp. But, you know, I'm busy, Jarvis. I know I'm getting old. Sorry.
There's no blaming me this week, lads. That's all.
No.
No blaming me. But it's all good, Jav. It's all good, yeah. I hope everyone's doing okay, doing well. Had a good week as always, and love and respect everybody.
Yeah. We are ready for a Monday night as always, Jarvis's Corner. So you want to go and dig into it, guys, and just go to the first topic of the evening. You know, the headline of the show is about Wan Bissaka. Wan Bissaka's wage demand stalls the West Ham move. Apparently, he wants to be paid a little bit more money if he wants to leave West Ham. Apparently his wages at West Ham is not the same as Man United, so he wants to get paid the extra that he loses by going there. I think we are talking about 2 to 3 millions, and again we see players holding the club for a ransom. They don't want to leave. They are so content. They love it at Man United, the fame, the fortune, the money, not the results. But I think they are so happy here. We saw the same with Maguire before the end of last season's transfer window when his move to West Ham went away. I think he was demanding 6 to 7 millions. Again, we see players like McTominay, Eriksen, not willing to leave. They are enjoying it at the club. So, guys, what's the solution? Are we happy with this? How should Man United handle this? Who want to go first? Stu?
Yeah, well, look, I said last week on last week's show that the reality of the Lenny Yoro deal was that a club made that decision for him. He was pretty much told, we've accepted the bid from Manchester United. you will go. You will negotiate, and you will go. And when you can look back in history, the history of the club, it's always been that way. And then all of a sudden, agents get involved. The agents' fees have gone through the roof. Their agents' influence has gone through the roof. And it's making life very, very difficult for clubs until a club turns around and says, tough, you'll do what we tell you to do. You're an employee of Manchester United. We've accepted and negotiated a bid from West Ham United, Aaron, and you will go. It's up to you to negotiate your salary, not us. And if you can't negotiate your salary, it's an irrelevance. We have accepted that bid. You will go. Okay. Or we'll accept a bid from X, Y, and Z. And it's the same with McTominay, Eriksen, or anywhere else. The thing about Wan Bissaka is you could see out his contract, start negotiating on a free transfer and pick up the remainder of his salary if he wants, but he won't get the type of salary wherever he goes moving forward with Manchester United. So I kind of don't really see his stance. I don't kind of understand his stance. What's an extra £3 million going to do to him? And you hear it all the time, don't you, with footballers? They always turn around and say, oh, my family's now secure. Well, your family was secure 5 years ago. You just pissed it up the wall. You didn't look at what you were going to be doing. You didn't look at the career longevity, and you didn't make that financial conscious decision to live on maybe a 12-month salary. Instead, you want to keep living year to year on the same, 12 million a year or whatever it is. And so, if he was a serious footballer, if McTominay was a serious footballer, then, and I've always said this, there is no path of least resistance anymore unless you join Man City, as an example. Potentially Arsenal this year, because I think Arsenal will actually overhaul City and win the league. But there is no path of least resistance away from those two. So you're not necessarily, Wan Bissaka is not necessarily going to West Ham to win titles. He's going to West Ham to potentially represent his country in the next World Cup and the Euros after that, if he's a serious footballer. Because come what may, whatever happens now, United will have a choice. They won't extend his contract. We're not even in conversation to extend his contract. I know Erik ten Hag's come out and said he wants McTominay to stay, but he's great value to us on our FFP.
Yeah.
Although I'm hearing from a few people that FFP is not even a consideration for us. We're okay FFP wise. Nobody really knows on that one. So for me, make a stand. You made a stand with Ten Hag. Now you've got to make a stand with, what's he saying?
Why is it always
Yeah, but Trev, I'm told you can lip read, so it doesn't really matter. You can put me on mute or not. You still know what I'm saying, pal. And so from that point of view, if Manchester United are serious moving forward, you become serious and ruthless. And we've not been ruthless for a long, long time. So my underlying factor is, Wan Bissaka. I might love the guy anyway. I think he's the best one-on-one defender in world football right now.
Yes.
Does he fit into what we want? But it leaves a bitter taste in my mouth when it comes to that. So we've got to re-wrestle control back of the contracts. We've got to re-wrestle control back of the transfer fees. We've got to re-wrestle control back of everything else that's associated player related. So for me, just pull the plug, pull the pin, get your shotgun out, put it to his head and say, you're gone, mate. You've got to do something as drastic as that. And I do exactly the same with Casemiro right now. And I do exactly the same with McTominay and probably Eriksen. Now, that's 4 players out our pool. We've got to get 4 players in the pool to do that. But we've got these players lined up. There is a real lack of movement with Ineos at the moment. If they are wanting a player out, player in, they've got to pull their finger out this week, because this week's absolutely quite critical and pivotal. If we lose at Fulham next Friday, you don't want to be chasing Arsenal and City already.
No,
you just don't. You don't want to. It cannot go beyond 6 points, because if it goes beyond 6 points, you're fighting for 3rd and 4th. That's how tight it will be this year. 6 points. That's fuck all, because they'll just pull away. Be 9 points, 12 points, 18 points. So got to go. As simple as that. They've got to take a book out of Lille and got to go.
Yeah. I want to go to Tom next. Tom, what's your thoughts on this issue? Yet another player holding us for a ransom. He wants money to leave the club. Apparently, they are enjoying it too much here, and they have no ambitions yet again. For me, I think it's very baffling, with all these guys, because they make a lot of money. I would say twice or almost 3 times as the average footballer in the Premier League, and even that is a lot of money, and they even want more. They swim like this: I want more. They have no ambitions, and they're holding us back. Our progress, we're holding, we are stopping. There's nothing happening. Again, we have signed 2 players this window. What's your thoughts?
Well, if we actually face reality, have we really signed anybody this window? You're not going to see Euro play for 3 months. Zirkzee is going to have some time to integrate properly. Like I said on Nuruddin's show earlier, we go to that final at the weekend. It's the same squad from last year, from that FA Cup final. It's the exact same squad.
Yeah.
There's no improvements. There's no reinforcements. There's hardly, I would say, not a lot of positivity, apart from a couple of the young players on the tour. That's been it, really. And you're seeing a bit of a game model, a bit of a style of play, but whether you can bring that from pre-season and put it into the first proper game that means something, we'll have to wait and see. But with players like Wan Bissaka, I'm going to say it for what it is. He's been here 4 years now, is it, guys? 4 years?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something
Right.
like that. I think he's had a 5-year contract.
2019 he signed, so 4 years.
Yeah. When you're into the last 12 months of your deal, put it this way, if a club wants to keep you, they wouldn't leave it until the last 12 months and risk losing you for nothing if you're that key and that crucial to that football club. They wouldn't even risk having that conversation. Clearly, the club want to go in a different direction with players now. And if it means that they have to walk players out of the door, they're going to do it. But the only thing that I'm going to say in this case is, if he's wanting how much, guys? £2-3 million. All I would say to him is, right, here's what we're going to do. You get no more money out of this club. You've got a wage that clearly you're comfortable with right now because you're happy to sit there for 12 months on this wage. You can sit there on that wage. You don't report to Carrington. You don't report to Manchester United, and you don't represent this football club again. If you're not going to follow through with what the club's plans and demands are, we've done, like Stu said, we've done everything for you. We've done a deal. We've agreed the fee. You're clearly happy to go to that club. You just want a bit more money. That money doesn't concern our football club. It concerns you and your pockets. We're not here to line people's pockets. We're here to win trophies. And clearly you're not a player who cares about that if you want to come and pinch our pockets. So at the end of the day, you can either risk a year of your career, and that West Ham offer might not be there in 12 months' time or 6 months' time. So the money that you want in 6 months' time is going to jet downwards because clubs don't know what they're buying with you because they've not seen you play for 6 months. And that's a simple reason of how you can deal with a player. Exile them. We've done it with players before at this football club. We did it a couple of months ago with Jadon Sancho when he had a bust up with the manager. We exiled him out of there. Fair enough, it was a short-term solution, but they've repatched things over. With Wan Bissaka, I haven't got sympathy with players. I don't. If you want a penny pinch off this football club, I'm not here for it anymore. I've had far too many players come to this club, take an easy road and think they can steal a living. I don't care if it's 500,000 or if it's 3 million. You don't get another penny. You get paid what's in your contract. You don't demand anything from this club. That's the difference. If you want to demand anything from this club, you've got the wrong intentions for being here. And at the end of the day, I've got no respect for somebody if they want to come to this football club and the first thing that they think about is forget about fighting for my spot in this squad. Or if I leave, I want a chunk of money. Maguire did this last summer, guys, with West Ham. He wanted paying off to leave out the back door. He wanted 10 million. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And the sense of entitlement from players in this team, anyway, is disgraceful. And this is what I'm talking about, guys, is when we buy players, I want us to buy players who, if there's an issue later down the line, money's not going to be the issue and the reason why you can't get rid of these players. It might just be, I don't want to go. I'm settled here. Not, I want 5 million to leave, I want 3 million to leave. Financial commitments with players. Honestly, I'm not here to talk about it. So if he's not going to pick up these wages right now, okay, exile him. See you later. I'm not interested. I like him as a one-on-one, like Stu said. I agree with him as I think he's one of the best one-on-one defenders in the world right now. Absolutely, I've got no problems about that.
Yes, yeah.
But he's too one-sided as a fullback, and in modern-day football, you get found out. 10, 20 years ago, people have been raving about him, saying he's one of the best defenders or one-on-one defenders in the Premier League, maybe even in the world. 10, 20 years ago. But we're in modern day 2024, and it doesn't fit the style of how football's going nowadays. So for me, I would just put the demands on the table and say, we'll either exile you if you don't leave, but you're not getting a penny out of us, or you can sit there 12 months. You don't have any commitments to this club. You don't report to the training ground. You don't report to PR meetings, press conferences, tours, anything. Your connection and affiliation with this club is done. You have a contract, we'll pay you your contract. So we're not breaching any agreements. That's it. And for me, if I'm a football club and I want to sign a player, I don't sign that kind of player because it puts a bad negativity towards that player as to say, well, why should we sign a player who's got such a bad rep with a top football club like Man United? Clearly, it's just going to cause more problems for him later down the line. But for me, he just wants to cash out on his career. And if he thinks he's going to do that at this football club, not interested. See you later. Exile him.
Yeah, it sounds like a good solution. And for me, I always been with the thought that the club should be more hard-handed on the players. This is not a we are running a professional football club, and it's all about winning. This is the main goal all the time: winning the next game and perform and enhance our performance, getting better all the time. And we can't that by accommodating all these players with high wages, like carrying them on pillows and not expecting and setting demands. So I agree with a lot of what you're saying, Poppy. You look like you have been thinking thoroughly on this topic for a couple of minutes. What's your thoughts on this? Do you see it a different way, or how do you feel?
I mean, I sort of echo the words of Tom and Stu in some sense. I was thinking mainly because what Tom said reminded me of Jadon Sancho's situation. But then prior to Jadon Sancho, I was trying to pick my brain a little bit, be like, what happened? Who was the last person that we actually sort of like, were ruthless with? And my mind came, correct me if I'm wrong, but my mind came to Ronaldo. We had the mutual agreement, but that was a contract that was terminated, if we want to face the fact. And I think the situation, the stalemate that we're sort of finding ourselves in now is calling for a more ruthless approach in terms of how we're dealing with these players. Look at our just like our rivals, Arsenal. They've had a little bit more of a stern approach towards, if you're identified as Deadwood, you are released or your contract is just not renewed. They've had Bellerin, they've had Kolasinac, Ozil, Aubameyang, what's his name, Socrates, Willian, all these Mkhitaryan, all these players. Some of them, like, obviously maybe their contracts were running out, and then it was just more like, we're not renewing you. But then there was some that was like, we're gonna be stern, we're gonna be harsh, we're gonna put an iron fist and say, well, you're not a part of our plans. And that sort of needs to be done at Man United if we want to really cleanse ourselves of the Deadwood. Of course, it's very difficult because we're stuck with commodities that nobody wants to buy. We want to think about it a little bit from what you said, Jarvis, from Aaron Wan Bissaka's perspective. Is like, hey man, like, you want me? It was Stu that said this, is saying that you could potentially get a chance to play for the national team if you go play for West Ham. But is it really though? Is it really the case? Do you think that like Aaron Wan Bissaka might view it that way? Do we think like Casemiro also might view it that way for his family and his kids' sake that are settled in Manchester, that have a life already built there, and they know that this is the expected income that they're going to get for the next X amount of time, and Mrs. Casemiro is making plans for vacation. Wan Bissaka's like partner also, there's a whole other like domino effect of like when you're trying to look at it from the player's perspective, that I feel like makes it difficult. And of course, from a club's perspective and fans' perspective, we want these Deadwood out. But also from the players' point of view, they also want to get the money that they were promised. You can't really, it's sort of like a similar situation to how Maguire, we had the agreement last season, and then from there they just couldn't reach an agreement in terms of like the salary. So it's a little bit of a difficult, like it's not solvable with just a snap of a finger. But I think part of the overlying factor has to be, there has to be a ruthlessness that we employ.
Yeah.
And look at what Juventus did just a few days ago. The manager, they had a list of players. They said, if you didn't go on preseason, I'm sorry, you're not part of the plans, and this is the list of the players. And look for a new club. That is a ruthless club.
Poppy, on what you're saying now, are we experienced now the Glazernomics again, because we can't get rid of these players? Are they holding us back, not want to let go of these players, paying out the ransom that needed to be done for us to evolve forward? Are we seeing the Glazers?
It's Glazer sins. It's not even Glazernomics at this point. It's the sins of the Glazers, and we're paying for it. I look at it in the sense that, like, we are sort of like in a we're stuck with like, as I said, commodities that nobody really wants for what they believe they are. Like the players have been told, this is what you're supposed to earn, this is what you're worth, and all that is false information. All that is really, really like it it's like we lied to them, and now they lied to themselves, and now we're stuck in this. How do we undo all those and say, guys, face the facts? If you really, really, really want to have a better chapter after Manchester United, as Wan Bissaka, I'm looking at it from his perspective. I say, okay, if I'm Aaron Wan Bissaka, I'm just gonna maybe not even entertain this West Ham thing, because who knows what West Ham is going to be like in the Premier League. But I know that my agent has spoken maybe with Inter Milan. Inter Milan will most likely find themselves in the semi-final or quarterfinal of the Champions League. They're going to be contenders for Serie A. So for the sake of Wan Bissaka's future, if I was him, I'd just say, I am not budging. I'm going to fight for my right to be here. And then in January, I'll sign a contract agreement with a club outside of Europe, outside of England. And then from there, that's the next step for Wan Bissaka. But in Maguire's case, it's also just very difficult. We are in a rut, and that is all because of Ed Woodward, the Glazers, and the overpaying of players.
Yeah. Ed Woodward, don't remind me of his name. Oh my God, this club, we have been ruined by that guy. I just want to go back to Stu. Then we all had our say on this topic. I think we can leave it with this and go to the next topic. I think all of our fan base and most of the fans agree on that we are stuck in this predicament. We have a difficult situation. In a way, we can understand that Wan Bissaka wants his money, but where is his ambitions? Where is his willingness to move on for his career? And basically just want to play football. Why don't
to be honest,
want to play football?
To be honest, modern day footballers don't give a damn about their career, because they've already earned them, and the money of the career of your average person. Like Jadon Sancho 3 years ago was an England regular.
Yeah,
he was nowhere near. I mean, I would be, if I was him, I'd be so embarrassed not to be pulling on the white shirt in the Euros. I've been so embarrassed, but he didn't give a damn. He didn't give a damn about the way he treated Manchester United fans. He didn't give a damn about the way that he did. He was at Dortmund. Didn't give a damn about anything. He cares about his bank balance. That's all he cares about. And if you're a footballer that cares about your bank balance above anything else, you shouldn't be anywhere near the game. You certainly shouldn't be at an elite club like Manchester United. But I said it before, and I've said it years ago, and I'll keep saying it and saying it and saying it. You give players 18, 19, 20 years old these multi-million pound contracts, then you're just buying regularity. You're just buying failure. Yeah. There's no reward. There's nothing to, for them to go out and think, well, crikey, if I score today, I get an extra 10 grand in my bank account next week. That'd be fucking great. Wow, that'd be ace. You don't see that anymore. They have an appearance fee. You know, Jadon Sanchez on 250 grand a week, 300 grand a week. He still picks up an appearance fee when he plays for about 3 to 5 grand. Fucking appearance fee.
Wow.
And then he'll get an assist fee, and then he'll get, you know, a goal scoring whatever. And all this happens to any type of player. Even if you're in League One, you get an appearance fee of anything from, you know, 500 to 1500. You know, an appearance fee. And why do you need an appearance fee? You know, and it just honestly, it staggers me. It beggars belief that we've allowed this to escalate to the level that it has. And when you're a moronic businessman that basically doesn't understand football and is laying contracts out, 5-year contracts, 10-year contracts, in the case of Chelsea, well, I think like 8 is the nice. If you sign an 8-year contract at 22 years old, where's your motivation? I mean, seriously, where is your motivation to get up every day because they've got to pay you? You signed your contract. You know, yeah, you get fined 2 weeks salary here, 2 weeks salary there, but then the PFA step in. Oh, you can't go and fine him for that and all this kind of bollocks, because don't forget the PFA chairman, whoever it is picking up 3 million quid a year. You've got the 10 million quid a year in the Premier League. You know, they're not going to rock the boat because they're all on this gravy train where they're just earning. There are players like Sofian Amrabat is a great example of a grafter. There are players like him who graft for a living. There are players like Martinez who graft for a living. Danny Olmo, there are players that go out and they graft for the money that they get, and there are players that just don't give an absolute fuck. And I defy anyone. I would tell Jadon Sanchez to his face, you don't give a fuck. I defy anyone to tell me.
You harsh.
I know,
100%.
I don't think he does. And, you know, you could now label that Aaroon Wan Bissaka. My question to him is, what do you need 3 million for? Your child lives in London. You've got a route back to London. Your family's from London. Just take the money. Go and play football, play regular football. That's what you're supposed to do, you know. So kind of, look, I Pappy, I think you're right. Do you blame him wanting his money? No, Frankie de Jong was in a similar boat. You know, he wanted his money. He was owed 15 million quid. Well, you know, there's always a deal to be. Tom will tell you this. There's always a way around a deal. I defy anybody to tell me there isn't, because there's always a fucking way around a deal. And if you're serious about anything in life and you want that deal, you'll get on the phone and you'll deal with it, or you'll get on Teams and you'll deal with it, and you'll put a structure together that suits everybody. And the likes of Wan Bissaka, the likes of Maguire, the likes of Ericsson, you know, we're probably, I don't know, $1 million a week, 1.5 mil a week of Deadwood that's going out. You've got to deal with that. You know, anyone with any sense has got to deal with it, and you make their life hard. I agree with Tom. Fuck them off. Stick them in the reserves, or don't lend them at Carrington. You're not going to get any bonuses then, you know. And then I'd start fining them. I would do anything I can to fine them 2 weeks' wages. Any little thing, any little indiscretion, 2 weeks' wages fined, and I would piss them off to the absolute limit.
You're not wearing the regulated socks today on training. 2 weeks ban.
2 weeks later, you're 2 minutes late. You're 2 minutes late. 2 weeks, because you can only fine these guys 2 weeks. Back in the early night, just once, Pappy. Back in the early 90s, this is a story that's very well known, right? And the players back in the early 90s were earning 10, 15, 25 if you're lucky, right? Yeah. And a Liverpool player wanted the weekend off because his missus had booked away a holiday away or something like that. So he goes into the gaffer and he says, look, do you need me for the weekend? The gaffer said, yeah, actually we do. He said, well, you know, the missus has done this, etc., etc. No, I need you. You got to play. Well, what's the punishment? 2 weeks' wages. So we pulled out 2 weeks' salary and slapped it on his desk and fucked off. This is the issue. This is the problem. None of us on here, and we all are quite well off. We earn all good money. All of us on this could afford.
I earn the least, but okay.
No, but we do. But you. Okay. But the point being is, you couldn't afford to do that. But when you're in this bubble where we've allowed this to happen and you've allowed this to escalate, that's the issue. So I've got absolutely I do have an issue with Wan Bissaka, but these multi-billionaires, and this is the other thing, apps, and I will shut up now, but you've got me going now, Jarvis.
It's okay. It's okay. Have a rant. Have a rant.
You've got Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Okay, he may have been given a leg up. I don't know. Tom might be able to tell me. He might have been given 2 or 3 million to start his business, but he's grafted to turn over a $60 billion a year business. $60 billion, right? So he knows what it takes to earn that money. And you've got some fucking little scrouse, some little fucking poser. Well, I want 3 million or I'm not going anywhere. Fuck off. I would honestly tell him to fuck off. The lawyers that they've got, these multi-billionaires, people can laugh all they like about Todd Bowley, but he could afford to lay out $2.5 billion on a club through his business ventures. The same with, okay, I'm not going to pull City into it because it's different, but the same as Kroenke at Arsenal.
Yeah.
The Liverpool guys, the Boston Red Sox owners, the Villa guys, they've earned their money. They've earned every penny by doing this and allowing these absolute idiots to dictate to them. I can't get my head around it because it just wouldn't happen with me. It just wouldn't happen. You'd be gone. You'd be out the fucking door. I would find anything I could do to unravel that contract. I really would. And you've got to make a stance. If you don't make a stance, Pappy, you're just gonna get walked all over. I see your point, by the way. He signed a contract. He's earned his money. I get all that. I do. I really do. But there comes a stage, doesn't there, where you've got to draw a line in the sand.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say, brilliant rants too. I agree 100% with what you're saying. And do you think this might be the way forward? Is it too soon for Ineos to start this hardball playing? Do you think they will wait a little bit before they start running the players out of the club? Tom?
Tom.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
I wanted to give a little bit of balance to it and say, actually, that's a really good question that you're asking, Jarvis. Before I get into it, in Stu's rant, when you mentioned Frankie de Jong, I just thought of this joke that you know that today Man United, well, it is a rumor. Manchester United Evening News mentioned Man United wanted to do an exchange deal for Frankie de Jong and Antony plus some money. And Barcelona said, no, we reject Antony, but give us the money. We'll fine you if you ever come up with that proposal again. So anyway, I don't know about the fining part, but I know that like that rumor was quickly shut down. So anyway, in terms of like, I want to give a little bit of balance to the conversation and say, like, I feel like Ineos maybe part of the reason why there is a little bit of this, it's taking long, it feels like a stalemate, is because, I wanna sort of say Ineos have actually sort of tried to do a little bit of a restructuring of a lot of the restructuring of our wage bill, and they do deserve some credit. Of course, sure, some players where the contracts were naturally expiring, but being able to get rid of the Martial off the wage bill, Varane off the wage bill, like in a year, we've actually like saved almost a whole million, and that's because of just like how much like players were being overpaid. Some of those that have left already, but and that is actually a little bit of credit that they deserve. I realize it's not an easy thing to try and get rid of overpaid players that nobody wants to buy, and if anybody wants to buy them, they're going to ask you to cover some of the wages, and it's just like a really, really bad. You're negotiating with one hand tied behind your back. It's like you're fighting a sword fight without actually using both hands. So I still want to give him a little bit of credit for that, and I still do want to see an expedited cleansing of Manchester United. That's what I want to say to your question, Jarvis. So yeah.
Very good, very nice.
Well said, Pappy. Well said, mate.
I just want to say we are 44 minutes into the show. How many likes are we on? If we reach 100, I will sing the new Kobe Manu chant. So guys, hit the like. Stephanie Griffith comes in, 46 likes already. 118 of you are watching, 115 on YouTube at the moment. So guys, smash the like. We need the likes on Jarvis's Corner to reach out into the YouTube world, because we're trying to speak sense. I'm a fan, Stu is a fan, Tom is a fan, and Poppy is a football fan, and we just see it our way, and we try to be honest with our opinion. No BS, no tabloid stuff. We just want to have our say, and we try to represent the fan base as good as we can. So guys, smash the like. The next topic, actually, it was a question I had on Noradin's channel a little bit earlier. So the question is, despite all the hype surrounding Ineos and their transfer window so far, one could argue that we have a weaker team now than we did during the FA Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
We have lost Varane, and Amrabat is away. We have replaced Varane with an injured Lenny Euro, and we don't have a replacement for Amrabat. So basically, we have a weaker team, and we are in the final stages of the transfer window. We are starting to get desperate. So my question is: are Ineos setting Ten Hag up to fail? Because he will most definitely take the fall. Who want to go first? Tom?
Yeah, go on. I think you can argue that, yes, because he hasn't had this so-called backing that we always use in football clubs. Is the manager been backed successfully or not? I think when they gave him the options of Xerxes, they clearly liked Xerxes. He had a massive influence in convincing him to come to the club and saying what the right reasons are to come to Manchester United. I'd be surprised if he didn't have a hand in the Lenny Euro deal, given that he's the most influential person towards the kid coming to the club, because he will be his boss day to day and working with his team. So he's going to have an influence in that. So I think he was happy that he got both of those. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed that he's not had Ligt through the door by now, because I think the running theory was they wanted to have Ligt on the plane on that tour at some point, whether he went with the whole squad or he joined maybe a couple of days afterwards when they'd settled there. That was the running theory. The plane's already come back and he's not come anywhere. He's not been on any tour or anything. And I said this on Nuruddin's show earlier. When you think about it, a lot of the most influential players in this squad, you could argue, haven't even been on the tour anyway. Garnacho hasn't been on that tour. You have Xerxes has not been on the tour. Kobe Mino has not been on the tour. Bruno Fernandes has not been on the tour. I can go on. And the consistency of what I'm saying, guys, is that the players who are on that tour, who are building this game model or this supposed new style of play, are what we classify as mediocre. A lot of them are mediocre players who we would want to see the back of. They are the Deadwood players of this squad. And going to that FA Cup final, like you just said, Jarvis, is the squad weaker? You're going to have to say yes. Yeah. Because you don't have Varane, who's that stable backup dance partner to Martinez. You don't have that stability there anymore. That's gone. You don't have Amrabat in midfield, so you've got no mobility, I would say, in midfield, because he was more mobile than Casemiro was in midfield. And that's no disheartening on Casemiro. The game's gone from him. It has. It's sad. It's unfortunate to see it's gone from him. He doesn't have the mobility. He doesn't have the legs. And the Premier League's too fast for him. But in some games, he works when he has someone next to him. But we don't have that player to play next to him. And we certainly don't have the player to replace him right now. So concerns are that the squad is weaker or exactly the same as what we had at that final. And the difference is we have a squad that I think is guided under different instructions, and I think they're taking well to it under the different coaching environment. But inevitably, I don't think this is what Ten Hag wants. I do think he wants an overhaul. He wants a revolution. He wants I think his core aspects of it was he wanted 4 players. Ideally, he'd want 2 centre-halves. A fullback was going to be a bonus for him, which he's going to get anyway. He wanted 2 centre-halves, a midfielder, and a number 9. Those were the 4 key credentials. He's got 1 out of those 4. He's got 2 out of those 4, in which one of those players can't play until maybe October, November time. So really, he's only got 1 out of the 4 that he wanted. It's not, in his eyes, he will probably think, bloody hell, I've been let down here. I have been let down. And at the end of the day, the one thing that we all sit here at the end of a transfer window is, guys, I don't want us to go around start panic buying. The Ugarte thing, I think, is going to cause a massive reaction to the fan base because he's a player that I think divides opinion, but I think he had more positives to bringing him in because we don't have that kind of player in midfield right now. So I think that's why the disheartened is there. But the difference and the problem with the Ugarte thing is we've known the price was £60 million for a month. We've sat there, you've negotiated a dead horse, and you've done nothing about it. What I liked when we went for the centre-backs was we had 3 players. Ligt was negotiating with Bayern, we was negotiating with Leo for Euro, and we had Bramthwaite with Everton. So if one of them busted up, we just went to the next one. If that one busted up, we went on again. And we got Euro. We're trying to get Ligt now as well, because the Bramthwaite thing's out of the price remit, like Ugarte is. But Ugarte now, you've blown the door on the whole thing and said we're not going to pay it. But you've got no negotiations with any other clubs, and you've got 2 or 3 weeks to sort it. And when you've got 2 or 3 weeks to sort it, and I always use this in football, at the end of the transfer window is the worst time to do business because clubs put prices up because they know you're desperate. That's why. So at the end of the day, when this club said that with Erik ten Hag, when he signed that pre-up contract and they gave him an extra year on top of it, they said in that statement, we are fully supportive of the manager's plans and visions going forward, and sufficient backing and commitment will follow. Commitment and backing has not followed, not right now anyway. So all I'm going to say is, if Ineos are going to give him a Hail Mary, and if they don't sign him, say, Ligt and Mazraoui by Friday, and he has maybe an option, if they can play that final or not, even if it's on the bench, guys, I think he's going to think, I'm concerned here. And who's going to take the fall for it? It probably will be Ten Hag, yes. But the difference is, I have a little bit of an understanding with him because I don't think he has been backed. I don't think he has really been backed that much since he's been here. Not with the players that he always has one player that he wanted, which was Frankie de Jong. They didn't get him here. He wanted Harry Kane last summer. They didn't get him here. They're trying to get him these players this summer right now. It's not really working. So at the end of the day, I can understand it from that aspect. But he has spent a lot of money in his time that he has been here, over the surface of it. But the difference is now, if we don't pay stupid fees, I'm not bothered. But I at least want to have another option there, so we're not going to wait another week where we're just wasting another week negotiating. Negotiate for free. What if you're in this situation right now? A solution. What we're in right now, guys. Okay, let's say you want, I don't know, Andre from Brazil, who's a player that's been touted to come to the Premier League for about 12 months now. Let's say you've got him. I know. Let's say you've got. Give me some names, guys. Give me some midfielders. Whoever. Conor Gallagher. I don't know. You just list a couple of players, right? You negotiate for all of these players. Go to all these clubs now and negotiate a set deal with those clubs. And then by Friday, you've got a price in mind for all the players. You might even have some bids accepted for these players, right? Just pick the best deal that suits financial sense and football sense for the club. And if it works out, doesn't it? But the difference is, at least we've not blown a hole in Ugarte and think, okay, we've just overpaid. But we've got the player that we wanted. But we need a solution right now. And panicking and just going and throwing money at anybody is not the solution to it. Negotiate with 3 or 4 different players, whichever's the best deal, and you think's the best option to go forward with, that fits financial sense and football sense, do it. And that's the whole protocol of what I'm saying as to why we need to solidify it. But if the book goes to December and we've not got the results that we wanted and there's no improvement, guys, it will follow on Ten Hag. But there will be an element to say that the transfer window impacted him. But also coaching will have to come into that question as well. Because we do have some good players in the squad who can, on their day, produce magical moments. But at the end of the day, if he doesn't solidify a style of playing a game model, even with mediocre players, guys, and show us either it works or it doesn't. If it doesn't work with mediocre players, we can all sit here and say, okay, he just doesn't have the players. But he's playing the right way. He's playing the way that we want. But if he gets the players that he wants, and then he doesn't play that way that we want, and this game model and this style, okay, what is it then? It's coaching. So it is on Ten Hag then.
There is, I may, if I may interject, Jarvis.
No, go on.
Yeah, please.
there is also the thing that, you know, of course, I'm disheartened by the fact that Ugarte deal is off. I don't know what that means moving forward. Was it always just the ploy to sort of like, you know, maybe we're looking at another midfielder elsewhere? I don't know. But the thing about it is we have to also remember that, thank you, Tommy, for reminding me this, that there is this rule that UEFA implemented, that UEFA implemented, pardon me, that, you know, like a player has to get 3 weeks off. And that 3 weeks off, I don't know if from the last time they kicked the ball or they were involved in a competitive game. So
it drags it to internationals as well. Yeah.
There is that you know, thing that maybe part of the reason why things are taking long is because, you know, we sort of you know, had to wait with Ugarte while his agent maybe might have been the point of communication, but his agent can only do so much. You need the player involved in some of these conversations. You know, you can't just sign off and say, oh, Ugarte, this is what we agreed, and you know, we're moving forward. So I just want to just put that also into the conversation that, yes, you know, some of the players that we've been you know, talking to, that sort of, they've been involved in major competitions, and now we need to sort of like make that decision quickly, and Ineos are the only ones that really know what the plan is. Because like, I was really hoping for Ugarte, because I feel like Ugarte is the profile that we need. If at all we will try and play this 3-1-6, he's the only DM that I can think of right now that we've been rumored with, that is mobile enough, that seems like they can make a difference to our midfield, you know. And now I don't know where we go from here, you know. In terms of the question that you asked, Jarvis, I don't think Ineos are intentionally setting Ten Hag up to fail. I feel like that narrative almost is kind of a way of protecting Ten Hag when we haven't even kicked a ball yet. Ten Hag's job is to coach the players. Right now, we're trying to upgrade the squad. But once the transfer window closes, your job as the manager is to improve what you have, work with what you have, and get the best out of what you have. So I don't want to buy too much into that narrative, Jarvis, and say maybe those didn't back him enough, etc., etc. We got Xerxes, we got Euro. It's unfortunate that you know, Euro is injured. It wasn't anybody's plan, anybody's like prediction, but you need to make sure you do well as a manager with the tools, you know.
Yeah. I think you both, Tom, and we have a slight echo here when I'm talking here myself. Okay, now it's gone. Yeah, it's gone. I just want to say before I give you a comment on your comments, I have added 3 moderators: Starcrow, Brendan Chappell, and G Wolf. Please, new moderators, be firm, but be respectful and be mature when it comes to moderating the chat. You know, we accept all opinions and not abuse. So try to stick with that. Now moving on to your comment, Poppy. I think that's great. I agree with what you're saying, but I'm interested in hearing Stu's point. Do you think Ten Hag is set up to fail because our transfer window is not going anywhere at the moment?
I actually think
he will take the blame. That's the problem for Ten Hag.
He will, and both Pappy and Tom make great points. I actually think there's a 10 million gamble that Ineos are going to play here. And that 10 million gamble is, do they want to fork out the extra 10 million combined for Mazraoui and Ligt, or do they want to pay the 10 million to Erik Ten Hag when they sack him? Because that's where you're at with it. It really is that simple, this. I'm with Pappy and Tom on this. If Ugarte isn't the right price, you need to move away, and you've got to make that stance. You've got to move away. Ligt and Mazraoui, clearly they want, clearly they believe they can do a deal, but they're pissing about with a small amount of money compared to the overall project. But either way, my point being, it's going to cost them 10 million anyway. Yeah. Whether you pay the extra 10 million or you just sack him, you got to pay this 10 million out. Or maybe even more, might even be 15 million in terms of his payoff. And we've seen this before, by the way, because we forked out some ridiculous money for Mourinho, forked out some ridiculous money for Van Gaal. Solskjaer himself got 7 million, and then you've got to remove who else ever on the backroom staff, etc., etc., etc. So all costs. So to me, that's the main gamble: is is there a small amount of money to negotiate? And if so, how do we offset that? And for me, you're better offsetting it by giving him a chance to really succeed, because I think Tom's right. If we don't get the players in, and then it becomes about what he can get out of this current squad, or we back him and say you've got nowhere to go now, you know. And I'm in the camp of I'd rather see him backed and got nowhere to go. But then that comes back to getting rid of the Deadwood and you know, and all this dead weight. You can't have a 1 in 1 out policy anymore. That has to stop, and they've got to do something with this Deadwood. So I know we're not linked with specific midfielders. Again, I'm with Tom on that. I think we should go out and start spread betting. Spread betting is the best way to buy players. You know, strike 3 deals with 3 clubs, and then choose the one you want after you've done the deal. You know, with the player from a personal point of view. So whether it's Zubimendi or whether it's Fofana, I'm not really a fan of Fofana at Monaco, if I'm being honest. But you know, PSG didn't piss about with Neves from Benfica, and they got him for 60 million. I don't know if it was euros. I'm hoping it's not euros. Pounds, because
apparently PSG signed a new central defender today also, so they're just filling up the squad.
Yeah, they didn't piss about by getting Neves across the board. There are elements of teams that have, you know, been a bit slow. We've been quite slow in the Premier League, apart from us really. City have done the odd 1 or 2 bits of business that most of us are not. So we're £60 million. Even that's brilliant. I win it for Neves. That's a great deal to negotiate that. So we've got to start looking at the realities of where we are again. And, you know, the reality is going to bite us hard. And it is very strange to potentially go into Saturday's match or even Fulham's match, you know, in 2 weeks' time with Maguire, and which is likely to be Maguire and Martinez. And then I'm hearing today that we're likely to push Sancho in because Zirkzee needs time to acclimatise.
Yeah,
pull your fucking finger out, mate. You're a professional footballer. Get out and play football. Acclimatise for what? You're 6'2". Get out and play football. Get on the bench.
100%, Stu.
Acclimatise on the pitch, if anything.
Yeah, exactly. You can't acclimatise. Not, you know, what are you going to do? Acclimatise through the city of Manchester. Acclimatise on the pitch by getting yourself a debut goal at Old Trafford under the lights. Doing knee slides at Stretford End. Understand what to be in a Manchester United player is about. So we can't. I'm tired of hearing all this bullshit, all this nonsense. You know, people were saying about Lenny Yoro a couple of weeks ago, and Jarvis, I'll tell you, Pappy. He said to me, "Well, 3 to 6." I said, "You're joking? It's 12 weeks minimum. Minimum. It's 12 weeks. Your foot's in a boot. Oh, it's precaution. Your foot goes into a boot, so it protects and keeps your foot in place, so your bone heals straight." Or your ligaments heal properly. You know, they knit together properly. They don't knit like spaghetti. They knit together properly. Your foot's in a boot. In LA, by the way, in the middle of summer,
yeah,
you know, he's not going to be hopping around in a boot for the sake of it. You know, there are all these things. And I think Tom mentioned last week that United were trying to keep it under wraps so they could get the deal for Ligt on the, you know, over the line, etc., etc. You're never going to keep anything like that under wraps. You know, it's somebody in today's day and age with photos and you know, and video cameras, and in America, I believe you can bloody full request anything on video, so anyone can full request the footage from there, you know, and you can see it. So that it was never going to happen. So, are we showing a level of naivety again, which again Pappy and Tom have alluded to, or it just things just not working out for us? I'm really kind of struggling to kind of understand where we are. So I want to see some aggression from Ten Hag this time. I want to see, you know, in push it onto Zirkzee. Sorry, mate, I bought you for a reason. Get out there. You know, I want to see Yoro take the full 3 months. I want to see Wan Bissaka gone. I want to see McTominay out the door. I want to see Casemiro out the door. I want to see Lindelof gone. I want to see all this happen.
We all do, Stu. We all do.
By the end of August the 31st. And they've got a moral, you know, they've got a duty to rebuild the squad properly. I'm not saying you can do it all in one hit. I get that you can't, but you can do some real damage this transfer window, not by the people that you bring in, but what you move out. And if you've got to bring in Harry Hamas for 6 months of the season, I'm sure Tom would agree with this, for 6 months, the first 6 months of the season, until we could get on a level footing, till we could do some deals in January, do it. Bring him in. Bring Collier in as well if you need to, just so we can get through. Because, like I said before, if we go 6 points behind City and Arsenal, we're fucked. We're done.
Yeah.
And 6 points sounds nothing. It sounds nothing, but they don't lose, those teams. They don't lose.
Yeah, the train is leaving the station right away,
Yeah.
and we have to get on. We have to get on.
Right. So look, if we go a week on Friday, and we've got to go with, as you guys have said, a similar team to, fine, but that team has got to go out and fight for those 3 points. It's got to want to go out and fight for those 3 points. So I just really hope that that's what the mentality of the club is at the moment. But it's, for me, it's, if you're going to sack Ten Hag, you're going to have to fork out 10 to 15 mil anyway.
Yeah.
So use that money. You're going to have to pay him, wisely in the transfer market. But I don't know. What do I know? What do I know?
The Tipton Hammer, as George Best come in with his comment. I just want to say before we move on, there's been a couple of updates on the news front. I just want to share that, guys, for you to know. I see you guys already know. You talked about it in the chat, but apparently the Ugarte deal is off, as previously revealed. Club are still in no rush to sell despite the arrival of João Neves, and believe there are still multiple suitors for Ugarte. So basically, it's off. And we have this one from Kane Smith. Comes in and say United will need to quickly identify and start negotiating for new midfielders now that the Ugarte deal is off the table. So there's several options linked with United. And 3 of them are below, but I will show you one of them. Is this guy? It's from Football Transfers. It's João Gomes playing midfield, the Brazilian playing midfield at the Wolves. I like him. I think he's good. He's similar to Ugarte, defensive midfielder. I think he has 8 caps for Brazil. I think he's how old is he? 23 years old, so there will be the right age bracket for Ineos. Premier League experience, market value is 35 million euros. So let's have a look at this guy. This is his FB referables. As you guys know, I like to look at the stats. You see non-penalty goals. He performs in the 55 percentile of the top 5 leagues in Europe. Successful take-ons, so he's a good dribbler. 69%, so he's good on the ball. He's a Brazilian. But what he excels in is tackles. His tackles is beyond any level. It's 99%. He's probably the best tackler in Europe in the top 5 leagues. 99 percentile. And the same with blocks, 92%. So this guy is a living wall shielding the defense. Would this be an option, Stu, for or Poppy? It's Poppy's turn. Would you like to sign this guy?
From the only red flag from the graphic that you just brought up, Jarvis, is the interceptions, because interceptions are a big part of like a defensive midfielder's duty. You need to be able
to
about
reading the game, mostly about reading and in-game intelligence for me. Interceptions.
Exactly, and being in the 19th percentile is a little bit worrisome for me. I really feel like you need that person who can bait the opposition into going for a passing lane, and then from there you actually go and intercept that ball. So I like the tackling, I like the blocks, it looks good. Can we talk about also like what about the duels on the ground? Is there anything that shows anything about?
Well, you have Ariel's one. Ariel's one is only 33%, so it's not a big guy. It's 1 meter 76 centimeters tall. So yeah.
I'll have to pass. That means we're not winning any first balls, second balls. The aerial duels are an important part of when we're trying to play the Ten Hag, boxing the opponent, trapping them in their own half. It doesn't look like at least from the, I know he's young, but from just these stats that you just provided, Jarvis, yeah, he's not really like winning my heart in terms of giving me the assurance that I need for a midfielder that should make us competitive.
Let's see who we can compare him with. We have who else do we have here? Only one that I really recognize is Edson Alvarez from West Ham.
Yeah, hit that compare button on the right. Let's see how Edson Alvarez looks.
Well, let's just go to Edson Alvarez because we were previously linked to him. He played under Ten Hag. So this is Edson Alvarez's stats. If
there we go. Now we're talking. Look at the interceptions. Look at the aerials. Look at that's a player right there. That's really you want to see more green. That's why for me the João Gomez guy, I'm a little bit reservations. Obviously, I know he's young, but this is a baller. These stats say baller to me. They shout baller, go for him. You're winning the first balls, you're winning the second balls. That's where I am with it.
Yeah, but there's other options, but we need to move on. We apparently not signing. We're not paying the 60 million PSG want, so we need another option. There's several options. Stu, who would you like to sign on top of your head? Do you have any in mind particular?
No, I'm really struggling because we let Paulinho go for 50 million. That 50 million sticks in my brain. And I know he's 27, 28, 29, something along those lines. But you're buying a proven Premier League quality player for £50 million, and we've allowed him to go over to Bayern Munich. A fair play to Bayern Munich. They tried last season, couldn't get him. But they made sure they got the man this time. Didn't dick about. Went in, did the deal. Off they go. Move on. And he's gone to play for Vincent Kompany, mind you.
Yeah.
Just let that sink in. He's gone to play for Vincent Kompany.
But I think it was his age that made him not an option for Ineos. He's
for Ineos, it wouldn't be. He's too old.
28, and let's say a 4-year deal, he will be 32 when his deal is off. So that's money off the brain.
For a football brain, it'd have been perfect for 2-3 years, and then it allows you then to do that building. Once you've got that type of player in, it allows you to then build under him. He is your foundation, and you start building for the future. And then, so you're looking at who you got in your loot. Now, that is true, Danny. We probably wouldn't have gotten 50 mil. You're probably right. But then you're looking at Collier. How can I bring Collier in within that 3-year timescale that I'm looking to utilise Paulinho for? That's how you start building squads around it. You start looking at what you can do. The Euro deal was built on the future. Maybe not for the here and now, but definitely for the future. Whereas Ligt, he would slot into the here and now. So you've got Ligt and you've got Euro, both young. You've got Martinez, relatively young, and you've got a nice little trio there of centre backs. You're building for that kind of future. Harry Amos, I mentioned him. Give him 6 months within the first team. It's a great little building block for him because Malacia is injured again.
Yeah,
he's had another breakdown, hasn't he? Can't rely on Luke Shaw. Mazraoui, he can play left back or right back. So I get that deal. And if you keep Wan Bissaka and you've got Dalot, you're kind of covered there on both your fullbacks. So your whole back four, if you want to call it, is nicely balanced. Even if you move, as I say, Wan Bissaka on, which we should do, you've still got Dalot, Amos, Mazraoui, and you've got Shaw. It's still a nice balanced back four. And that's how you're looking at it. When we move into midfield, we're woefully under-equipped. Now, there is an argument to say, and I haven't seen a great deal of the pre-season, but Mason Mount's had a little bit of an impact. He's looking rather fit, fresh. So there is a potential that, depending what happens with Bruno and the way that they want to play Bruno, you could maybe run Mount, and I'm not talking about double pivots here. You could move Mount and Maino into kind of interchange between themselves. Obviously, and they could cover. But the ideal of a player like Ugarte or Fofana, one for a word from Monaco, is what they do is they hold the position. And having Euro in, or maybe even Ligt to an extent, but certainly Martinez and Euro, it enables them to push out. But Ugarte is brilliant at filling in at centre half.
Yeah.
So the thing with Ugarte is you're actually buying versatility as well. You're buying versatility with Mazraoui. You're buying versatility with Ugarte, and that's something we haven't had in our squad for a long time, a hell of a long time. Well, people can argue, well, hold on, Luke Shaw's moving into centre half. Yeah, but that's not true versatility, really. Well, he's just covered in there when we were short, and that's what's happened with Casemiro when we were short. He's covered in. I'm talking about the versatility of overlapping each other. So defender overlaps the midfielder, and the midfielder is capable to kind of cover the centre half, and we need all of this. This is where City, I fucking hate them, are so good at it. John Stones, if Diaz comes out from the back, Stones can just sit back in, no problem. No issue. He can do that because he's played centre half, he's played central midfield. So we've got to start buying these types of players, and that's why I know they're after Ugarte and probably haven't looked at other players, but they're going to have to. They're going to have to start looking at it from a future point of view. So you got to we haven't future-proofed our squad for 10 years. We now need to start future-proofing it. So whatever we do now, we've got to be able to buy for the future and start bringing the shoots up behind them. Whether it happens or not, I don't know, but it's kind of it's massively interesting at the moment. I think this week will be key. I think this week
it will, Stu. I just want to say we are on 69 likes.
Come on.
I don't want to cut you off, but 69 likes, 69, dude, hit the like. I just want to present a list for you, Poppy. There's 3 players linked in. How do you rate this UK papers, Stu? United Districts Co UK? Is it okay?
It looks like the onion. Stu, what do you say?
Well, they have a big Twitter account, United District. So yeah, they are reliable in a way.
Sure.
These are the 3 players. They are lining up. It's Martin Subamendi.
Yes.
Real Sociedad. We have been linked to him all season or all summer. The other guy is Youssef Fofana. I know you don't rate him, the Monaco midfielder. For me, it's more like a box-to-box, not the number 6. But well, if he's the only one available, he will do. And the third option is our own Sofian Amrabat.
So just to cut in for a minute, that should just tell you everything you need to know about the credibility of that rag. There's nothing new there, is there?
No, it's not. It's not. But
Zero new. Zero. Nothing new. We could all have said those names because we all had. Everyone in the VAR room could have come up with those. That's the problem with lazy journalism. I'll just pick 3 names. Zubimendi, definitely. Amrabat, Why we link with Amrabat? You're not going to get linked with him. He's been with us. Is whether or not we take him back. That's the question. There's no link. Where's the fucking link?
Right.
You don't take him back. So, and this is lazy journalism, Jarvis. This is what I hate about lazy. As a journalist, I hate lazy journalism, and it just absolutely winds me up. There are players maybe outside the box, that you could conceivably look at. John McGinn at Villa would do a great job for us. He is a bit of more of a box player, but he'd absolutely hold on midfield.
See how that comes in with Kakure and Kone.
Yeah.
Both great midfielders. I want to hear from Poppy. What's your thoughts on those options? What do you want to do?
Okay, so I would say for me, Zubimendi is top. This is why I'll get into that in a second. So Zubimendi's top, and then I would go what's his name? Amrabat third. That's sort of my ranking of these guys. So here's how I look at it. Ugarte is good because he's somebody that is very aggressive. He's a ball thief. He's agile. He's covers a lot of grass, and I think you need somebody that can get around the pitch quickly to just different zones when he's needed, right? But Zubimendi has the temperament that we actually need, and I feel like he'll be a really good complement to Kobbie Mainoo because his IQ and understanding of positioning is really, really, really good. He is a better progressive passer than than the other people on that list. Like even Amrabat is not as good as with his progressive passing, and Zubimendi also. There is just something we need somebody that can hold that position and be a little bit of a secure anchor and receive the ball from the defensive line or from the goalkeeper and be able to just distribute it forward. So Zubimendi fits the bill more than anybody else on that, just because of his progressive passing and his like decision making. It's a really important position that we need to get right, because this is like somebody that is going to allow Kobbie Mainoo to go forward and without leaving us with a lot of defensive like holes. We saw last season time and time again, a lot of times when our opponents get the ball from us, they actually just have already a one-on-one with our center backs. How many times did you see even what's his name? Mbuemo, or even like the Crystal Palace like game, like it was literally like they win the ball, they're just facing our center backs, and all they have to do is drop the shoulder, take a shot, and we know Kit Kat Fingers is not going to stop it. So it literally like we have to make the right decision on the perfect player to complement Bruno and Mainoo, and Zubimendi is at the top of my list. But all of them have ball security for the most part, but Zubimendi has a really elite.
Zubimendi, yeah, he looks class. But for me, my only worry when it comes to Zubimendi is I haven't watched Real Sociedad. Is it the Real Sociedad he plays?
I think it's something like that. Yeah,
but I saw him in the finals in the Euros. He looked brilliant. But it's one game. I can't say that I trust him completely. I need to see more. But we also have one other option, Stu, when it comes to midfielders. We have a guy from France with long curly hair.
Yusuf.
Yeah, look, if you can get him on a free, which apparently we can, old Rabiot.
Well, let's just put that in the bin. There's nothing as it's called free when it comes to football.
No, yeah, but in terms of
I just want to say one thing. When it comes to footballers, people call it free, but let's say he wants 15 million a year, and Ugarte wants 5 million a year for a 5-year contract. That will cost us an extra 10 million a year, so over 5 years it's 50 million extra. You have to do the math.
Yeah, people don't like him. They don't rate him. I don't think he didn't pull up any trees, did he, in the Euros? But actually, as a player, I think he'd actually fit the Premier League better than he does the Italian league, and he certainly did the French league, because he's more of an aggressive type player. And I think ideally, for him or for us, having somebody who's got a bit of presence in there, bit tall, likes to tackle, win a header, he's got a bit of a nasty side to him. We're not going to score your goals, but you don't want a holding midfielder to do that. His chance creations aren't brilliant either. I wouldn't not have him. I was watching Pappy and Mark actually yesterday or the day before, and they were both giving their viewpoints, and Mark was saying that, and I agree with him. I think Rabiot would walk into, any Premier League side, and he would. People can laugh and joke about it, but he would, because you buy Rabiot for a reason. You don't buy him because he's a pain in the ass. You don't buy him because of his mum. You don't buy him for anything else. You buy him for a reason, and he's the type of player that you can go in there and say, "Well, look," you can pop him in and say, "Look, here we are. This is what I want from you," and he'll do it. He isn't a DM, but there's not that many real great DMs out there, and you've got to understand the line of a DM. The line of a DM runs a central spine, and he'll very rarely wander into the opposition box, and he'll stay ready to pivot as and when he needs to. And Rabiot does do that. Rabiot has got the ability to hold. And it's, I think, unfortunately, most of our fans at the moment, because we've been linked with Ugarte. Ugarte is the only one. That's it. He's the only one that can come in and do what we need, but he isn't. There are other players out there that can do it. Players that we've not even heard of. They can come in and do it. And Andrew Robertson from Hull at Liverpool for 7 million is a great example. He's a perfect example of coming in and taking his chance. Dan Burn at Newcastle coming in and taking his chance. These are all great examples of people who want to play football. And Rabiot kind of does that. Yeah, he comes with baggage, his mom, etc., etc. But it's up to the club to nip that in the bud. You know, it's up to the club to turn around and say, well, right, you know, we'll give you this contract. We want you to come to Manchester United, but your mom stays well clear of the club. That is it. Any sense of any off-field trouble, you're gone.
You know, Stu, my
true.
My reservations with Rabiot is the wage demands, but go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he'll want. Ugarte, I think we were looking to get no more than 70 grand a week, weren't we? You know, something rather relatively cheap. I suppose he's going to come in at maybe 130 to 150. You know, but that's unfortunately what we do, and that seems to be the going rate. But things have got to change. But the thing is, though, people are having a pop at Rabiot. And I made this point, by the way, Pappy, on a show like 3 years ago when we were linked with Frankie de Jong for the first time, and people were raving about it. Whoa, you know, we get de Jong, we do this, we do that. Nobody was talking about him 18 months prior when he was actually playing some great football for Barcelona. No one was even speaking about him. People have been actually talking about Rabiot for a few years on and off. Would he kind of fit with us? Is he more of an English type player? Because he's quite languid, isn't he, in his approach? And then I've seen, well, he's a Fellaini, or he's this, or he's that. And I kind of like think to myself, well, is he a Fellaini? I think he's got more about him than Fellaini. But Fellaini was good in certain games. But what you've got to bear in mind is, look at Rodri. Look at Rodri. Rodri isn't this what you call great baller. He's not brilliant on the eye. He's not flash. You know, he tucks his shirt into his shorts. You know, he doesn't have posy hair. He gets on with the game, and that's what you need. And if you could get Rabiot to get on with the game, you know, I'm not saying before anyone jumps on me, he's Rodri's standard. What I'm saying is he could do for us what Rodri does for City. And if you've got that, and then you've got the ability, like he's got Bernardo Silva and he's got De Bruyne around him, and we've got Mainu and we've got Bruno around Rabiot, you're seeing a completely different animal. You're seeing a completely different way of playing football. And people, you know, just people forget that. They just think, well, I've seen him do this and I've seen him do that, but you don't, you know, you just got to look sometimes at the bigger picture. So look, I'm not saying, and I listened to your arguments, Pappy, actually. I think you and Mark had a really good debate on Rabiot.
Yeah.
I thought you really did. And he will divide opinion like nothing else if he comes to the club. But what would you rather do, guys? VAR in. Would you rather start with Casemiro or McTominay? Or maybe Amrabat? Or would you give Rabiot a go? Because you've got zero idea what difference he could make to our starting 11. That's all I'd say. You know, that's all I'd question.
Yeah. No, you make good points. I think compared to, say, early on in the conversation, we were talking about Gomez, and like I'll need that presence. I need that presence. And as long as Rabiot is cool, knowing that he's not guaranteed a starting place in the lineup, then we can talk. As long as Rabiot is also cool to not demand such high wages, according to whatever transfer insider that's saying an excess of 240 K per week, you know, then we can cook, you know. I really think that obviously there is a reason why he's picked in the French national team. You know, France is a very, very talented squad pool, you know, and if you can get picked consistently for international tournaments, it means that there's something about you. And you know, sometimes a player in isolation cannot look as good, but when he fits the puzzle and completes the midfield trio, you could actually get a really, really, really solid competitive midfield. And I would be happy if that happens.
Yeah, but I wouldn't pay him 240 a week either. I wouldn't. I'd say
that's 12.5 million a season. approximately.
If you want 240 a week, we'll start you at 150. And, you know, earn your bonuses.
And then
Just
you
earn your bonuses. You know, if you think you're as good as what I think you are, earn your fucking bonuses.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify something. I see some of the people in the chat complain because they think we are too negative when it comes to this Ineos, Ten Hag setting him up to fail, Ugarte deal, transfer window is terrible. I just want to say a disclaimer. I'm not blaming Ineos at all. No one of us is blaming Ineos. And they are doing a great job setting up the medical team, the training staff, the training area. A lot of things are doing. The football structure is going right at the moment, but I'm aware that we are in a very, very difficult situation. So we are not, but we are just talking it through, explaining what our thoughts on the topics are. So just be clear, no one of us is Ineos out. We're not blaming Ten Hag. We're not blaming anyone, but we're just talking about the situation. My point on you said something, Stu, about the tactics, and I just want to show this for you guys. You know, I'm always into these tactics things, so I will bring up this tactical board. I know it's super boring, but I will do it anyway. Because it's my show. Because what I saw against Liverpool, we are pressing in a block of four, because we play this 4 in the back, 2 in the central area, and 4 up front, while the opposition is trying to play out from the back. And what we do, we are looking for trigger points to press. So basically, we play in a zonal press first. And when the trigger point is there, the trigger point could be a bad pass from the goalkeeper to the center back, the center back having a bad touch, you know, staying with his back against the wall, anything. Then we go in, boom. We are man marking every player on the pitch. We are man marking. We are staying strong, everybody up. But against Liverpool, we had one problem. We had Casemiro playing the central midfielder, and Casemiro, he didn't man mark his man. He was giving him a little bit of space all the time. So you could see Liverpool, sometimes we were pressing, but suddenly they played over our press, and we were all alone with our defense. I see this as a positive. I like how Mason Mount operates in his press play. I have said several times that I like Mason Mount in this team because he brings something extra in his press play, because he sees these triggers. He's a very intelligent player and he knows when to press. But we have a big problem because of Casemiro. He's not aggressive enough when it comes to his press play. He has to trust his center back. I don't know why Casemiro don't press up high enough. Is it because he doesn't trust Maguire or Lindelof or Evans as center backs? Because we need to stay compact. All of them need to press up. We need to have an extremely high line and stay compact. So we have problems. This is why the DM role is so important in this Ten Hag system. And he needs to be able to win the ball up high in the pitch, high recoveries for us to create chances. If
you reset that, can you reset that?
Yeah. Let me just add it to the stage again. So how do you want it? The 4-2-4?
Yeah, how you were before. Yeah, if you totally reset that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right about that, and I've noticed that in the past. But there's a slightly better way to press, which doesn't leave us as exposed, because the way that you pressed it, we were exposed for pretty much 2/3 of the pitch.
Yep.
So sometimes what you're doing is better off just dropping Rashford and Garnacho down 10 yards. Yeah. And then pushing Bruno to the left and slightly higher. And that's exactly right.
So you want to press them into the...
Yeah, what you want to do is bring them into the middle. So if you put the ball with Edison or whoever it is, he's got 2 options, and that's the fullbacks. Now, the way that Bruno and the way that is that Mount, is it? Yeah, the way that they're positioned slightly more centrally. He's got, you know, if he was to distribute out to the two centre halves and the two fullbacks, you've got something. You've got Bruno to cover the right back and the right centre half. You've got Mount to cover the left back and we're just using these players as an example. If he goes through to the middle, we can snatch the ball straight away, and that allows our left back can push up and our right back, so we can push up against Foden and we can push up against Silva.
Yeah,
that's it. And then we're in a much more compact pressing style that would give them more hassle coming out than the way that you did against Liverpool. If you look at that, that is a more difficult system to work against, i.e. to play against Manchester United. Because as soon as somebody takes the ball, we're on them and then we can spring if necessary. Ideally, Casemiro anyway would actually sit between De Bruyne and Haaland. He would normally sit there anyway. That's where a good central defensive midfielder would play. And you're absolutely right when you questioned the speed of Maguire and the speed of Lindelof or the speed of.
Well, what I'm saying, Stu, is when the trigger points is there and we start our press, because as I said in the beginning, we are in a zonal block of 4. So what we are doing when the trigger point is there, we push, we go for it. And this is what Ten Hag are trying to do. I've seen it. We saw it against Real Sociedad. We saw it against Liverpool, especially. We're going with the 4-2-4 formation, and this is what we're doing this season. Yeah. So we are relying on the midfielders to be able to push up. If not, if they have a free man, our press is overplayed. Suddenly, 6 men is gone in our defense.
Yeah, which is why we'll have that issue.
Biggest problem. We need to have that Casemiro and bring in a midfielder like Ugarte. That will be key for Ten Hag.
Yeah, and I think that's why he probably wanted Yoro or maybe Ligt, but I know Yoro is quicker than Ligt anyway. Martinez, can cover the ground. Shaw can cover the ground. Dalot can kind of cover the ground, but there are. I agree with you, but I think that's dangerous for the current personnel that we've got.
Yeah, that's the thing. Dangerous. That's the thing. For me, we need to move on. We need a new DM and we need 2 new center backs in a way, especially because we need to be aggressive as F.
But the interesting thing, Joe, is if you think as well, when you look at most of our games, I'm Pappy, one of most of our games is we never press the back 4 of the opposition ever. We allow them to walk out to us. We were trying to be compact within the middle, but we didn't split them. And this is why I want to play 2 up front. So I want to play Zirkzee, and this is why I want to play.
But we basically do. But we play with a false 9 and a 10 operating.
Yeah, but I don't want to play false 9. I want to play 2 9s, and I want to play 2 9s for that reason. Because 2 9s, that's where you start the press. If you play with 1 9, like you say, false 9 and a 10, then usually the 10 is behind the false 9 when you need him alongside him. So you don't want the likes of Liverpool, you don't want the likes of City, Arsenal to be able to, for the keeper to roll it out to the fullback, and the fullback can run 10 yards, 20 yards into space, and we're chasing shadows. You want to be able to put them in a position where the keeper's going, what the fuck am I going to do now? Yeah. You do. It sounds daft, but that's what you want to do. I don't want him to do that. Fuck, I can't do that. So I'm now going to have to lob it into the middle, or I'm going to have to go long with it, and then we've got a chance. That's what I'd like to see him do.
The scenario the scenario that you're describing is exactly like the deficiency right now in that picture that we just closed on. Jarvis, if you want to bring it up one more time.
Yeah, but Jarvis is right. Jarvis's initial, that's why I went with something like that. But Jarvis's initial assessment was 100% right, Pappy. How sad is that? Not that you're sad for getting it right, Jarvis. Sorry. I meant put it back. Look at the space alone, just there.
Yeah,
alone, just there alone, between 2. And Rashford, as an example.
Stu, let's say Akanji here have the ball as an example. The passive zonal is blocking the passing lanes into the central midfielders. You want to bring it out. And back to the goalkeeper. If so there's basically a block. You have to play through this block. It's difficult. And when they do a bad pass, a bad touch, something bad, the trigger point goes. Everybody runs up, man marking. So this 11 against 11, everybody's man marking. Everybody's man marking. And this is the problem. If the DM is scared to move up, he needs to move up even here if needed. But you have to be able to move your legs. You have to be aggressive as F.
True.
This is the problem. Yeah.
But what you got there, Jarvis? Sorry, dude.
Yeah.
Just move. Just say Wan Bissaka's sleeping, just for argument's sake.
Yeah.
He's having a kip. He's up by Foden. Put him behind Foden like he had. He's having a bit of a kip. He's tying his shoelace. He's seen his daughter in the crowd. Foden drops down. He takes it. Wan Bissaka too late. Where does De Bruyne go? Straight in behind Wan Bissaka. The ball down the wing. And that's how quickly you can be opened up. It's nuts. I know it's nuts, and I know that's just a what if moment. But look at what we've just achieved by a what if moment.
But I think we just have to prepare for this. I just wanted to bring this out for you guys and the VAR room, everybody to be aware of our tactic this season. This is how we will set
football, though, isn't it, Jarvis? What we've just described there could happen in a heartbeat.
And the other thing, by the way, is the moment Edison finds Kyle Walker, because of the low defensive work rate of Marcus Rashford, Kyle Walker just pushes that ball forward, and then he can easily find De Bruyne, and they're already in our final third. You know, because everybody is out there trying to do this pressing that we've been seeing, even Real Betis and versus the slot machine versus Liverpool. We literally were doing the same thing, trying to make it difficult for the opposition to play out from the back. And the moment a team that is clever to be able to just move the ball to somebody that's more advanced, it's exactly what Alien Taino is saying. It's suicide football.
Well, I would argue with the right personnel.
With the right personnel, it could work.
With the right personnel, but that's the biggest problem for Ten Hag now. It's not his tactics; it's personnel problems.
Exactly. But what you've got there, if you put that back up, you're absolutely right about Casemiro. You've got him in no man's land, pretty much, and that's not where he should be. You know, and De Bruyne is going to be more central because De Bruyne would float between like a smiley face. You know, a bit further down, De Bruyne would be, and he'd go from left to right. Look at the space, though, if he gets turned over, if ball gets turned over, which is, I know.
Well, basically, in the real world, the centre backs will be much higher up and will be more like this, you know. But I'm just putting it out as an example for a visual for people to understand. You know, it's not always easy when pundits talk about football in the halftime and explaining things. You have to see it, especially for me. You know, I'm a visual learner.
And don't forget the interesting thing: you'd have Onana on the edge of his area.
Yeah.
Onana wouldn't be on his goal line. He'd be on the edge of his area. That's where he would be because he would need to be there because of the space and behind. There's a good, 35 yards there of absolute clean air if they were to get in and around you. But it's interesting. I'm looking forward to, I've got a lot on Saturday, so I'll have to watch bits that I can. But it'll be interesting to see how it does it. But you're right, there's a definite need for personnel.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember something called the FA Cup final when we played against City. I have saved my tactical. Let's give me a second. I just want to bring it up here. Where is it? I have saved it. Sorry for keep you waiting. Let's see. Creates. No, it's where is it? My collection. Here it is. My collection. FA Cup. Here it is. No, it's the wrong one.
Tactics. I think you wanted that one that says tactics.
My collection. This is FA Cup tactics. Yeah, let's have a revisit of what we did in the FA Cup final, because then we played really compact. We had this block of 4 centrally, and Garnacho and Rashford operating in these spaces. So we basically forced Manchester City to play the ball out wide, where they were 1-on-1 against our fullbacks. And this was a very effective way to play against Manchester City. And in the Charity Shield game, I believe we will play the same way. But in the rest of the season, I expect more of a 4-2-4 formation when the opposition are starting to play out from the back.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, if you were to move Dalot into just the tip of the shaded area, then that's it. That's the prime position for a fullback. That's exactly where he should be, giving Silva a little bit of space, but Dalot's then able to command, or should be able to command, which way he wants him to go. You know, I want to show you the outside, which is what you would normally do, because you wouldn't want to show Silva on the inside because he's left-footed. He comes on the inside, little into him into Haaland, and away you go. So you will always want him on the outskirts. But interestingly enough, you're right about Wan Bissaka. He's not actually bothered yet about Doku. He's not bothered. You know, if the ball goes across him, that's fine. He'll then jog out and he'll move quickly into a similar position as where Dalot is for Doku. And that's where he did. And that's why Doku had very little success until he got that kind of lucky goal, we'll call. Because Wan Bissaka held him out in the diagonal for most of it. Did quite well, Wan Bissaka did, to be fair.
Interesting question here from Mental Ball Game is who's playing the Amrabat and Varane role, though? That's the main question.
Well, that's what Jarvis is talking about, isn't it? That's what you were saying.
Who do you think we will line up in the Community Shield game?
Community Shield.
Are we playing Casemiro?
It's unfortunate that I think it's going to be Casemiro. He's been such a constant person in the lineup for preseason that it's most likely going to, as long as I really feel like it's going to be Casemiro. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality of the situation. And I don't know if Ten Hag is going to rush Kobbie Mainoo, who just came back this today. So I don't think Kobbie Mainoo would start. Like I'm expecting maybe even a surprise Collier in there, Casemiro, Collier, and maybe Mount. I don't know if Bruno also will be fit enough to start, because it's all just like, I guess it'll all just depend on how they perform in training for the next few days. So I'm really hoping that we start the season strong, and the Community Shield is a dinner plate. Nobody really like brings it up when you're comparing silverware, but it can give you a positive boost. It can give you a the sort of like momentum that we need to go into the Fulham game with. So I unfortunately see a midfield that has Casemiro in there, and that disheartens me.
Yeah, it will be a problem. Stu, I just want to say we are 1 hour 47 minutes into the show, so we need to be wary of our time. So I think it's time to go to the Q&A session, if that's okay with you, buddy.
Yeah, we'll have to, because I've just looked at the time. I'm going to get shot. Right, just a very quickie. If I was Martinez, I'd want to be playing. I wouldn't want to go cold in against Fulham, so I'd want to get some minutes. Same as Mainoo, same as Bruno, but it'll be interesting to see. Guys, thank you very much for getting involved today. It's been a whirlwind of a show. It looks like the VAR room's been having a little bit of fun. Just to say what Jarvis says, we're all Manchester United fans. It's a community. Look after each other. Be kind to each other, please. Q&A. We don't have a huge amount of time, I'm afraid. So
I want to roll the intro.
Yes, let's get going.
Let's play the jingle.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
I do love that. That's superb, isn't it? Yes. Jarvis the drummer there. Jarvis the drummer. Right, let's get straight on with it, guys, because time is short, I'm afraid. Question. Pappy, I'll let you have this one first. This is from K7. And he says, or she says, I don't know, are loyalty bonuses part of contracts? Good question, that.
I would guess yes. I don't know. It obviously would depend on the player and what the agent and the club have all sort of like agreed. But I would guess that yes, they are part of contracts. But I know that obviously the main thing, is like signing on fees and the add-ons and the targets. Those are things that are really, really, really out there in black and white for player contracts. But in terms of loyalty bonuses, my guess is yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just a quickie on that one. Yeah, just a quickie on that one, K7. They are sporadic in some contracts, but I can tell you that Mr. Mbappe got a very, very nice chunk of money from a loyalty bonus before he said, thank you very much, put it in his pocket and walked away over to
I think
Madrid.
they're talking about like 250 millions or something. It was
a
like,
lot of money. Yeah, his loyalty bonuses over the course of his contract here, ridiculous. So, yeah, they do exist in some. K7, I hope that's answered your question. Thank you very much. Mark Davis, always welcome. Jarvis, can I ask the panel, what do you think of Ugarte deal being called off, United having walked away? So Mark's asking why do we think they walked away?
Yeah, big up, Mark. Always coming in with great questions. I just want to say, Ugarte deal, he's a player I would love to have in the club, but I think now with the new structure, we got to keep a firm hand when it comes to negotiation, and enough is enough. Okay, if we want to pay 35 and they want 60, I think the gap is too big. We are talking about 25 millions. So if you can't meet and United are not willing to stretch up to, let's say, 50 and the PSG is not willing to go down to 50 or 45. We are talking add-ons. We are talking how the structure of the deal is, how much money they want up front, and for us, we don't have liquidity. We don't have cash, so we have to be able to pay just like say 10 millions a year for 5 years or something like that. But if PSG don't want to do that, well, it's going to get difficult. So I agree, move away if we can't do the deal because the money is tight at the moment, but we have to have options.
No, I agree with you. I'm somewhat fascinated by how we think 35 million quid would have got him, but anyway, that's just me. Considering that he only joined for PSG 12 months ago for 60. I don't know where we thought 35 million would do it. So, a strange one. But Mark, I hope that's answered your question. Thank you very much. Stephanie, welcome as always, the great Stephanie Griffith. What about Wharton at Palace? For a young player, he's very Kobe Mainoo-esque by his maturity and the way that he has developed and the way that he's taken to Premier League life. I thought he could have played some kind of role in the Euros. I think for him, even just being a part of the experience, I think was superb. But I think he's a better player to have sat on the bench and Phil Foden to have done all tournaments and playing. Same with Cole Palmer. If there was ever a chance we could get Wharton, I think we should go all out to do that. And I do exactly the same with Cole Palmer. Can't see us ever getting a chance at Cole Palmer, but I do think we'd have a shot at getting Wharton over the next 2 years. I'd like to see how he does this year in the Premier League before we bid for him. But I think there's a serious player in there, serious talent. I like him.
Yeah, but what do you think we have to pay for a player like Wharton?
Well, unfortunately, you're probably looking at around 50 mil for Wharton in by the end of next season. Yeah. If he has a similar impact to Palace, because let's face it, Palace were one difficult team to break down and play against last season. I'd be really interested to see where we are with him. Great player. I do like him, Stephanie. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, his passing range is impeccable. It's nice.
The reckless one we have kind of covered. In essence, Malacia has broken down yet again.
2 months.
Yeah, it's not been hugely reported, has it, Jarvis, as to why?
No,
broken down.
I don't know anything. I don't know if Poppy has any information when it comes to Malacia.
I didn't know about the relapse and the injury, but what I know is like he is not. I haven't seen any pictures of him training with the team, so there has to be something in there. We saw pictures of everybody else, even the arrivals from today, the players that have been on break, and Malacia is just not there, so probably he'll be. The last picture I saw of him was him doing individual training, and that was about a week and a half ago. So poor lad is just so unlucky, and yeah,
difficult one, but he's got to bang through it and quickly. Reckless one. I hope that's answered your question. Got a good one here from Mueller Monday. I'm going to go with, or Melia Monday. What do we think of the future of Hannibal? Well, that's a really interesting one. So, Pappy, will hand that one to you.
Yeah, un meilleur monde, the better world. That's what it means in French. Big up to you for that question. The future of Hannibal is definitely not at Manchester United. It is somewhere else. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have the minerals. He's one of those players that I would classify like say Andres Pereira, who was a good player but not good enough to be at Man United and put in the consistent performances. So Hannibal, I wanted it to work out as African to African, but unfortunately it is just not going to be at Man United. We need to really go for players that have the talent and also have the technical ability to elevate our midfield. And Hannibal is unfortunately just not that player. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think it's probably time we moved on from him, and maybe
his future is in Scotland. With Celtic and Rangers are bidding for him. We are talking about 5 to 10 million. So we can actually get some money for him also. That's
possibly even Palestra's time's up as well. Maybe. I don't know. It's one of those. I hope that's answered your question. Yes, I won't even attempt it, Pappy. Luan France. Jarvis, this one's for you, buddy. Do we seriously not have any youngsters in the academy with stats impressive enough to give special attention and training to move into our first team? Jarvis.
Oh, yeah, we have a lot of youngsters. True, we have this season, we have seen Ethan Wheatley, Collier, Amas, Maxi, Oyedele. Will Fish, unfortunately, got injured. I think he looked really good in the games he played. So we have a lot of youngsters coming up. I can't say I follow the academy that much. This is Mark's specialties. So I wish Mark were here. He could give you a better answer, Luan. I don't know anyone of the youngsters coming up besides what's the name of that winger, the dribbler guy, the young guy. He's really good. Well, Mark will tell you in the chat.
Mark will know. Yeah, Mark will tell us in the chat.
So I can't give you a better answer, but I have big hopes for Collier and Amas this season. I think they look ready, both of them. You could see Amas a little bit shaky in the first half against Liverpool, but he played himself up really well in the second half. I think I see something in him. He's 17 years old, Rushmana comes in and says, Shay Lacey. Yes, it's Shay Lacey. That's the guy. He will be probably the one that will come up next season. He's too young now. But there's a lot of good players coming up, and I think this is just the beginning. I think we are now structuring the academy to get future stars and leave a pathway into the first team. That's a very important role that both Ten Hag and Ineos have in mind.
Yeah, definitely. Lawan, I hope that's answered your question. Well said, Jarvis. The boss, the gaffer. Can Amrabat and Collier do the job? Well, we've briefly spoken about Amrabat. We think so. Collier definitely, but it's 12 months too soon for our man Collier. I like him. He's got some great attributes. Would he be able to come in and do what Kobe did, have the same effect that Kobe has and maybe Garnacho's had on the starting 11? Probably not. but I do believe within 12 months as well, you'll see Collier. I think you'll probably see him play Carabao Cup this year and early rounds of the FA Cup if we go away to lower league opposition, and that's certainly how I would bring him into the mix. Amrabat remains to be seen whether or not we decide that we want him to rejoin. It could well be that Amrabat does rejoin because nobody else does. Who knows? Very interesting one. Watch this space. If I was Amrabat, though, I'd be a bit miffed right now because I'd like my future resolved because I don't know if he's actually training with Fiorentina because they want rid, don't they? So,
well, apparently there was some offers for Amrabat now. There's another club coming in for him, so we shouldn't wait too long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jamie Wayne says, "Are we going to regret letting the Rolls Royce or the Peach or Varane go?" Great question, actually.
That's a good question.
It's a very, very difficult one to answer. So I'm going to go that to Pappy.
Jamie, I think financially, no, but footballing wise, yes, because Varane and Martinez are already built up a chemistry that you can't buy. Chemistry, there's two things in life that I think you can't buy in life. It's class and chemistry. Chemistry comes from having moments where you suffer together, you win together, you lose together, and as much as we sort of have looked at Leniero as the successor to Varane, the reality of the situation is that they do not have any chemistry minutes together. So that's going to take a little bit of a learning curve as well. And are we prepared for that? I don't know. I think it's one of those things where we just have to face it and say we let Rolls-Royce go, and we are now pairing or replacing it with a Subaru. Like Victor Lindros,
very.
I would say a Volvo from Sweden. Or a Volvo.
So yeah. Let's hope that Euro can come back quick, and then we can get that partnership going. Because as we know, like when Jarvis was bringing up that tactics from the FA Cup final, it was reminding me of the very one moment of bite that Man City had where Martinez sort of, had a little bit of he shoved Haaland a little bit, and that cross been properly weighted, like there would have been 1-0 Man City early in the game, and that's one of the deficiencies of having the sort of like center back pairing that Ten Hag prefers. So there's always a deficiency somewhere. There's always a weakness with every system, and unfortunately, that is that weakness.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Jamie, that's answered your question. I thought.
Big up, Jamie.
Puppy, big up, yeah. Next question is from Mental Ball Game. Where do you think we realistically finish in the table at the end of the season? Jarvis, good luck with that one.
Ooh. I need my crystal ball. And what do I predict for the season? Well, it depends. It's a little bit too early actually to come with predictions. But okay, I'll do it anyway. I think we will be in the fight for top 4, and we will come in 5th or 6th. That's my prediction. For me, I know we have a young team. Performing over 38 games in the Premier League season is very difficult. So there will be ups and downs, and we just got to be prepared for it. So players will come out of form. We will have injuries. The youngsters will be inconsistent. So this is just what my predictions are at the moment. Unless we bring in, I would say, at least one more center back and a proper shield of a defensive midfielder that will bring stability into our core line. But at the moment, I think we are too unstable, too inconsistent to compete for the top 4. I'm sorry.
Yeah, difficult one. I'm not sure. If we got the players that I think we were linked with just recently, I think we probably would have finished 3rd. But I think top 5, top 6.
Okay. Puppy, throw up the numbers.
I'm still pondering on this one. So like I have a stream tomorrow where we're doing early season predictions. So I'll reserve my answer for tomorrow mental ball game. See you on Football Power Hour for that answer.
Well, I hope that mental ball game. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Next question, Locker 45. Would you take 27 million for Fofana plus 12 million Amrabat as equals to the 38 we bid for Ugarte? Very short for me. No. I think Ugarte offers a little bit more scope development than what you get with Fofana and Amrabat. Both very good players individually, but I don't think they're the combination that you would want as opposed to Ugarte. So it'd be a very simple no for me. Locker 45. You guys, you're similar or?
I want Zubimendi more than Fofana. I think if we get Zubimendi and Amrabat, even if it's maybe
Zubimendi 60. Isn't he 60?
Yeah, he's more money. Yeah, he's big money. Yeah, Fofana's. I think Monaco want to move him on. I think they've got other needs within their squad. So I think no, I just don't see it.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. But would you take him, Jarvis? Fofana and Amrabat.
I don't know why we need Fofana, because I think he would just will block Collier's pathway because he's a box. So for me, I don't see a sign. We need, as I said in the tactical stuff and earlier, we need a proper shield for the defensive line. So Fofana is not it for me. I would rather play Collier and Amrabat than Fofana and Amrabat.
Yeah. Locker 45, hope that answers your question. Alien Tenno, when will Rude become manager? Good question. I don't think it's a question for now. Maybe a question for January. Re-ask it in January. And I think
but you can see the British press are building up something. They want to create a clash. If you lose against Liverpool, they will start introducing Rude as the next manager and trying to throw Ten Hag out of the bus.
I think that's a question for January.
It is a Dutch elephant in the room, though. Like
think there's two. There's Rennie Hake as well. Ex-manager. There's two. So interesting. Yeah, good question. Carl says, well, we kind of covered this, Kat. Sorry, a little while ago. So if you've been watching, then you may well have seen that segment. But we believe that the bulk of the starting 11 will probably be represented by most of the starting 11 that appeared in the FA Cup final, bar some notable absentees, Varane being one. That's kind of where we came down on that one, Kat. So I hope that one.
Big up, Kat.
Thank you very much for that question.
And on the flip side, by the way, on that question, I feel like Pep Guardiola, on the contrary, will not put out his strongest team. We'll see the McAtee, the O'Reillys, the Rico Lewises, and Oscar Bob. Like
Oscar Bob, yeah.
There's something about it. Like if you watch the Chelsea game, the Man City Chelsea game, like I think Pep Guardiola is not going to start off strong. It's just sort of how he is, and how his approach. Man City end up gaining momentum when we get towards Christmas. And yeah, that is my feeling on the flip side of that question.
Great stuff. Mark, hi Mark, glad you've been with us, mate, all show. Could it be that we actually are just bluffing and really aiming to get both Ugarte and someone else, kind of Zubimendi or a Lehrman, because something feels fishy? Also, João Gomez is a better fit. So Mark's thinking that João Gomez is a good fit for us. Jarvis, what's your thoughts on that one?
Well, when it comes to transfers, Mark always knows his stuff.
He does, yeah.
That's we could be bluffing. We don't know with Ineos because these are the first window. We don't have in history. I don't know what to look for besides all the reports that are coming out. And when it comes to transfers, there's always a lot of bluffs and double bluffs and agent talks and club talks and opposite club talks and what to trust. But it could be a bluff. We could just throw the money on the table and said, okay, now we go, now we move. Ugarte, here you go, and Subamendi. It could happen. You know, it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, we only came back off tour effectively this morning, and it's only Monday, so a lot could happen now. I think you'll see some movement this week, somewhere along the line. Where that will be, and I don't.
This is a good comment, you know, from Roshmano. No tweet about Ugarte from Fabrizio. That's interesting, because what have we learned when it comes to Ineos? They keep a tight ship.
Yes,
and the only one who comes correctly is Fabrizio and
Ornstein.
Ornstein, yes, that's his name.
Thank you. Ornstein, the Ugarte update of Man United walking away is from Ornstein. So
yes,
that's
well, he's okay. He's okay. Mark, hope that's answered your question. But yeah, we all think you've probably got a better handle on that than us. So, hope you don't mind. Elite baller. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
are we too overcritical about a United team that hasn't kicked a ball in a competitive game yet? Should we wait and see how we play the strongest 11 football experts in the structure? Yeah, Pappy. I think that's a relatively straightforward.
Yeah. It's a good question, Elite Baller, because it harkens back to what Jarvis asked early on in the show, and I think like right now, Ten Hag, we can't judge him until we kick off, and we kick off really versus Fulham. Even Man City game, guys, let's not be too reactive on it. Let's not take it too much. Like, you know, we may beat Man City 3-1. And then, you know, all of a sudden, like, oh, we're gonna win, we're challenging, you know, let's not read too much into that game. I feel like versus Fulham, that's the real time when we start looking at Ten Hag and what he's doing and say, are you really the right person for this job? I want him to stay. I want him to do well. But at the same time, once we get to the stage where the transfer window closes at the end of August, you have to use your tools to the best of your ability, and your ability has to be good. You know, we'll be looking, you know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Elite Baller, I hope that's answered your question. There's another question from Mark there. We've just had one from him, so we'll move on from that one. Basically, he's asking, Pappy, have you ever seen Joe Gomez? Can you explain what that is?
Of course.
Maybe you could explain about that in your show tomorrow. Yes. Yeah. Pranay has asked, if Fulham offered 25 million for McTominay, would you let him go? I asked because some fans value McTominay higher. Yeah, the interesting thing about that is you've got to measure Scott McTominay against Emile Smith-Rowe. That's Fulham's issue. And when you're paying 30 million for Emile Smith-Rowe, who's been injured for 2 years, to only offer 25 million for somebody who scored 11 goals last season for Manchester United in a poor team, it doesn't scan. It just doesn't stack up. So in answer to your question, no, we should be getting north of 30 for McTominay. Right then, hope that answers your question, by the way, Pranay. Scott is at the wheel. Jarvis, question. Do you think Golden should play the new
like James Bond?
Do you think Golden should play the new James Bond? Okay.
Poppy, can you please explain the 007? What do you mean?
Well,
the 007 player is somebody who plays 7 games and doesn't have goals, no assists, right? And Golden, I think Scotty is talking about a certain player, but I don't want to just guess wrong. So Scotty, if you can put a clarifying follow-up comment, that would be
clarify that one. Yeah.
So it's Golden. But yeah, insert the name of the player. Golden should play the new James Bond. We'll see if Scotty will clarify this.
Big
up, Scotty. We love you anyway.
Is it Mason Mount?
Possibly. He plays 7, doesn't he? So yeah, possibly 7 games, no assists, no goal. No, he scored though. Mason Mount scored. So scored back in the last season, didn't he? Really good goal, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps it's not. Quick one for Joseph O'Hanlon's been a member for 7 months. Thank you very much, Joseph. guys, we're going to have to rip through these questions because I'm in terrible trouble. I'm 20 minutes late now. I'm in real trouble.
All right.
Right. What about Max? Sorry, the Living Prophecy Lender has asked a question about what about Maxi play good next to Kobe for the under-18s FA Cup run? Yeah, look, probably Mark's are the best to answer that. We might have to see if Mark will answer that in the chat for you.
Maxi Oyedele.
Yeah,
I
I
think he looks extremely good. He's composed. He looks very mature for his age. He has a great how he plays his pass. Is always almost surgical precise. How he his weight on the ball, his precision. So I think he is coming to become a really good midfielder. But as we see now, we have a lot of youngsters coming through. So I think the timing for Maxi Oyedele is very difficult. I think his pathway into the first team is blocked. So for me, I would send him on a loan this season and try to bring him in next season.
Yeah,
because we can't adapt Mainu and Collier and Maxi at the same time. We can't have three teens in the midfield.
Yeah, I know you're on about now. I know the player. Apologies, the Living Prophecy Lender. For me, I'm with Jarvis. 6-month loan would be ideal, but keep him in and around the first team. Get him training with the first team and get him involved in some lesser games for sure. I think he's a good player. Yeah, he's very, very tidy player. One of the things I liked about him is he put the goal in for Hugo. Lovely pass. He was critical of his own pass. So, yes, I know you mean apologies. And I like him. But probably too early. Again, a little bit like Collier, probably 12 months out. And then you might see something. Thanks for your question, though. Brilliant question. I'll just quickly answer this one from Colin. The short answer to that is Roy Keane hasn't got the patience anymore to deal with professional footballers or be in and around professional football. I think he'd love to be in, and I think some of the players would love to. And I think a lot of the fans like the thought of him being involved at Manchester United. But these players, it reduced them to tears. Some of these players, he'd have crying on their knees, begging for forgiveness because they're just that. They're that. No, I'm not going to say the word. Yeah, I'm not going to say the word. But for me, Colin, if we could have old school Roy Keane back, absolutely, I'd love it. But some of the new players, some of the kids, no, they just couldn't handle it, I'm afraid. Some of the agents couldn't either. They'd be off crying as well. And therein lies the issue. So great question, Colin, but probably no, unfortunately. Scotty's back. So we've just done one from Scotty. So let me just have a quick read. Do you think under any of us rebuild, we're on the first rung of the ladder because we stay with Ten Hag? We're already 3 rungs up the squad rebuild ladder. Pappy, come on, yeah. What's your thoughts on that?
So Scotty says, do you think under Ineos rebuild, we are on the first run of the ladder, or because we stayed with Ten Hag, we're already 3 runs up the squad?
Yeah, he's rung he's talking about. But so I think, we're not on the bottom step of the ladder. We've moved up a little bit. So by sticking with him,
yeah, I mean, I really like the fact that there's a little bit of a continuity factor. We're not starting fresh. If we had a brand new manager, it would be, we'll lose the experience that Ten Hag has already had with the players and the connection that he's had. The youth really trust him. And I think it made sense to stick up with him. So I think it was actually a really good move from Ineos's perspective to stick with him. So that's why I said earlier on, I really hope that it works out. I really hope that he hits the ground running, because at the end of the day, it's a results-based business. And if you don't produce the results, I don't care if you're going to be a good manager 7 years from now. We need to see results. We need to see a clear style of play. We need to see something that can console us, because we've been traumatized for 12 years, and we need something to put a smile on our face. So
Great answer, Pappy. I think, Scotty, you're right. I think we've moved up the rung of the ladder. We've been on the bottom rung for a long, long time. Any kind of sense of squads balancing suggests that we are going in the right direction. I think the question is, are we going quick enough for the fans? The answer to that would be no right now. Are Ineos finding their feet? The answer to that would be yes.
Yeah.
But I think within Wilcox and within Ashworth, within Brailsford, and I think you've got to just Omar Barada, I just think you've got to trust them a little bit.
Yeah.
However frustrated we are right now, I just think we've got to trust them. So, Scotty, I hope that answers your question, pal. Do you see my private message?
Yes.
I thought so. Yes, I thought so. Yeah, yeah, it didn't look right to me.
No.
Locker is back. We've done that one, Locker, pal. But maybe
it's a different spin. Would you settle for Fofana? Would you settle? Would you be okay with it? No. We all said no.
Yeah, we said no. Yeah.
Ronald.
Well, okay, Ronald has come up with a perler of a question. Jarvis knows my answer to this already, so does Pappy. So I'm going to let Jarvis and Pappy answer that. 40 million swap for Sancho and Frankie de Jong. Are you doing it? My answer is very, very short and sweet. Jarvis?
I don't know. This is. I would love to see Frankie de Jong play under Ten Hag again, because I think they understand each other and how Ten Hag wants to play. But then again, he rejected us. No, it's a no for me.
Pappy?
Yeah, I Frankie de Jong is one of the highest paid players right now. He's earning more than Mbappe, and seeing him at Man United would mean that he's earning something. Probably he's going to be the highest paid player at Man United, would want that. So I just really, really, as much as I want Ten Hag to get his ideal midfield, he talked about it in the interview that, I wanted to pair Casemiro and Frankie de Jong. He said that in his own words. And I was just like, oh, that actually could, because a lot of other fans thought that Casemiro was the replacement for de Jong, but that wasn't the case. When Ten Hag said those words, I was just like, oh, wow, that midfield trio of Bruno, Casemiro, and Frankie de Jong, you can only fantasize and be like, what could have been? But I am done with Frankie de Jong. Emotionally, I've moved on. I do not want to see him at United, and I don't think he'll be there playing for the bench. So it's a hell nah.
For me, Ronald, with that one, mate, you're at the frying pan and into a cremation oven, I'm afraid. You don't want to be anywhere near that. You're absolutely right, but we've got Kobe Mainoo now. So we're much better set for the future with Kobe Mainoo. And the other interesting thing is, with his age and what Barcelona have invested in him, if he was any value to Barcelona, he'd still be there, or Barcelona still want to keep him. So big red flag for me. But thank you ever so much for your question, Ronald. We hope to see you back as well. Final question is from Mark. Mark says, Mason Mount is not worth 60 mil. If he's just as good off the ball, imagine the number 10 good at pressing and nothing left, waste of money. I think it's more of a statement than a question. But Jarvis and Pappy, you can have the final say on those.
I mean, the jury is still out on Mason Mount. This is the season. I can't really judge a player that really wasn't there. I want to see how Ten Hag wants to implement him. I want to see what he can bring to the team when we're actually playing a competitive game. So for me, I was obviously not happy with the amount of money that we paid for him, but the fact that he was our first signing last transfer window seemed like he was a priority signing for the club. So what are we doing? What's the plan with Mason Mount? The answer should be coming in the next few weeks. What is he going to contribute? Where is he going to contribute? Is it left wing, right wing? Is it an 8? Is it as a 10? Is he Bruno's deputy? All these things are big question marks that only Ten Hag will give me the answer to. I don't want to speculate. So
it's a tricky
I don't
one.
want to rush to call him waste of money right now before he has a chance to really show in a competitive game this season. So
Mm.
that's why
I think, guys, I think he's got a huge personal season coming up for him. Forget about Manchester United.
Yeah.
He's got a big personal season coming up.
Yeah.
Can he find any type of form? Because otherwise, you're going to see a very, very similar demise to the one of Danny Drinkwater when he left Chelsea, Leicester City to go to Chelsea.
Yep.
He was a very, very, very good footballer at Leicester. Pivotal. Goes to Chelsea. He's now working on a building site. I'm not saying that's anything bad. I think that was his own career choice, but his career went under. Mason Mount's season. This is a big, big season for him. If he can't quite pull it, he's got problems.
Yeah.
I just want to say when it comes to Mount, I think he's pivotal for our press play. I think he brings something extra. I don't agree with Mark's criticism of Mason Mount. I think Mark is a little bit too critical when it comes to Mason Mount, and I think he's not showed us what's in him, and I think he will be very important for Ten Hag this season if he can stay injury free and play a bigger role than anyone expects. That's just my predictions when it comes to Mason Mount.
No, he needs to, though, Jarvis. He has to, from his, for him as an individual and a footballer, he's got to have that season, and he can't think about Manchester United. He can only think about Mason Mount. A couple of very, very quick ones because we do need to wrap the show up, I'm afraid, everybody. Yep. Thanks for your questions. There's been loads tonight. Which is absolutely brilliant. Thomas and Jarvis
from Sweden.
Yeah, so
how do you say Thomas's last name again?
Svedjenos. Svedjenos.
What a name. I like that
name.
Yeah. Do you guys think it's acceptable with the same midfield as last year? Very straightforward for me. No. You should never go in to any season with the same starting 11. You should always have one or two player injection right across the board. Whatever level you play at, you should always have an injection of faces. That's for me. You guys?
Yeah. I think we need someone in with new energy, but we almost have a new signing in Mason Mount in the midfield.
We do. Yeah, we do. So
he could be our
he could well be.
Thomas. And Collier. Don't forget Collier.
Collier, Thomas, thanks for your question, and thanks for joining us. We'd love to see you, next Monday for more Jarvis Corner.
Yep.
Therefore, I'm in the dog. I don't know yet. That would be the answer to that. That one. Jamie Wayne, love Jamie Wayne. Do you think Cleberson is better than McTominay? I think we all know the answer to that one, Jamie, but I love the question, mate. I do. I love the question. And finally, before we go to Ronald again, how was that a question? I think he might be referring to Mark's Mason Mount statements.
Yes.
That was a question. But big up to Ronald, who's been a member for 3 months. So thank you, Ronald.
And I actually think that's thank you.
A membership comments from Ronald with the question he asked earlier. But thank you, Ronald, for bringing up Sancho swap deal for Frankie de Jong. Are we doing it? No.
Guys, that's been Jarvis's Corner tonight. I'm going to flip the big man to his rightful place. There he is, his rightful. But me and Pappy just paupers. We're just paupers,
right?
In the presence of greatness. Jarvis allows me and Pappy onto his show, and we have to pay him. Actually, we didn't tell you this, but we have to actually give him money to be on his show. The mafia himself,
of course.
Guys, we're streaming Jarvis's Corner to Mark's channel and also my channel.
Oh, brilliant!
Make sure you go to all the channels and give him a like, would really appreciate it. Let's make Jarvis's Corner the biggest corner in the world,
Yes. Thank you, Poppy. I just want to say to Stu, I know you have to go. I have a couple of updates from Rushmano, so it's okay with me that you need to go. We are 2 hours 30 minutes into the show.
Yes, thank you very much.
So no problem, Stu. Big up. Thank you for coming on, being my co-host as usual. Brilliant on the Q&A. So
I can't believe I've made my debut on Mark's show and I've been on Pappy's show 2 weeks on a row.
Hey,
I've gone global. Guys, thank you very much. The questions were absolutely mint tonight. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the conversation. Pappy, great to see you as always, pal. And my good old mate, who I bow down to every Monday night, the man himself, Mr. Jarvis Corner. Hey, Jarvis is going away on holiday, by the way. So have a great time away. And then it might be that me and Pappy are anchoring on Monday night. That's if you want us to anchor. I mean, Trevor clearly won't, but other people might want us to anchor. So all the very best, guys, but I must dash. Take care.
Thank you, Stu. Thanks for coming on.
Bye-bye.
See you on the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, and now it's just you and me, Pappy.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
You know?
We still have 85 or 87 people watching. We are on update from Louvain, France. 84 likes. I said we need 100 for me to bring you the Kobe Mainu chant, the new Kobe Mainu chant. So if you haven't hit the like already, it's time. You just pull out your finger, push the button, done.
Easy peasy.
How hard is it? Easy peasy, Japanese. Shouldn't be that hard. So guys, hit the like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you get a notification next time we go live. Same goes for Football Power Hour and Mark's transfer channel. Will be great. Couple of updates from Rushmano. He keeps sending me these great updates on Twitter. I just want to bring this. We have another player linked. It's Andre from Fluminense. Have you heard about him, Papi?
And Andre from Fluminense? No.
I don't think we have time to go through that, but we are linked to several midfielders. But there's another, Brazilian Fluminense. I think we were linked to him slightly last season, and he was also linked to West Ham at the same moment at the end of the transfer window. So
let's look up his profile really quickly while we are waiting on some more people to hit the like button. He looks like a versatile player from Brazil. Look at that. He's played defensive midfield, 135 games. He can play center back as well. He's can play attacking one game in attacking midfield, right midfield. So we need somebody that can fill in as a center back if needed. But in terms of like what I'm looking just from first glance, Jarvis, I don't see, defensive midfielders are not supposed to be like begging the goals, but 3 goals, 2 assists feels like it's, just below average. Like even Zubamendi has a lot more goal contribution from a defensive midfield position. His age, he's 23 years old. So there's still a lot of potential. There's still a lot, experience-wise. What do you think, Jarvis, from looking at this?
How old is he again?
23 years old.
23, yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to Brazilians, especially when they come from Brazil, they haven't adapted to the European way of playing football. They play a different type. It's more free. It's more creative how they play in Brazil. It's a chance. He might be good enough. But for me, I think I'm a little bit skeptical when it comes to signings like that. I think they look good on paper, but in reality, they don't hit on. Do you think I'm right, Papi, or?
That is true. I mean, you got to look at also the experience as well, Jarvis. Like, it's the Serie A of Brazil, and like there's no other like really big Libertadores. That's where he's, I really look at it as sometimes you need to also know that you're paying for experience when you get a player that, even if he's young, he has to be able to sort of show that he doesn't get stage fright under big lights.
That's the thing, because you have to have the mentality too. That's very important. And basically when it comes to attributes for scouts, for example, when they look at young footballers. It's game insight, how to find space in tight compact areas. It's about
True.
ball striking ability, how good they actually are on the ball, how are they technique in a way, and movements, and there's a lot of like small things, but mental ability is one of the key elements for scouts, I believe. I have read that somewhere, but I can't find it right now. I just want to bring out this update from Rushmano. It comes from Chris Winterburn. He says, I don't think Manchester United will sign a major midfielder before the window closes. So we have to be patient because the market just isn't there. However, I would keep an eye on Ben Sheaf at Coventry. He was profiled at the start of the summer by Ineos Recruitment Setup. He's cheap, he's low risk, English, and he has resale value if it doesn't work out. So Ben Sheaf, Poppy, can you look him up and see what type of player are we talking about now?
All right, Ben Sheaf from Sheaf from Coventry.
Yeah.
He looks like let's see, young player, 26 years of age. Here is his profile. You can tell that also kind of versatile. He's played a couple of different positions: left center back, right center back. Defensive midfield is his main position. So I guess
he's not young. He's 26 actually, so he's ready made.
Yeah. He's actually not in the developing phase. He's more or less like you've got what you see is what you get. But look at where he's been. Arsenal Academy as well. He came up in
he's an educated footballer.
Educated football, a little bit more of a goal threat from a deeper area than Andre. You can see 8 goals, 11 assists. That's not bad. FA Cup experience as well. I
want to show you this, Poppy. Look at this. The FP refs. Just gonna bring this up on stage. It's not bad. It doesn't look bad. When it comes to his abilities. Non-penalty goals 71%, shots 84%. Pass attempts 90%, so it's really accurate on his and progressive passes 96%. Are we talking about a British English Frankie de Jong at Coventry City? It's just a hidden gem that we are looking for. And look at his tackles, 98 percentile, interception 83, blocks 82. Wow.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. British Frankie de Jong. We found him.
Ben Sheaf, ladies and gentlemen. He looks good.
JB says, nah, people will laugh at us. I think it's not bad though. Like aerial duels and the clearances are not as where you'd want them to be, but I think the key factor for me is always interceptions are a very, very big part of like how you judge a player's positioning and how they bait the opposition into making a pass that they think that they can make. And we need like he looks like an elite tackler as well, 98th percentile. So that is good. Actually that's really not bad. And Coventry, what did he play versus us in
Yeah, he must have been playing against us.
Yeah. I don't know. The on the ball looks good with the progressive passes as well, as that's what we really need, somebody as 6 that can pick up the ball and make sure that those balls arrive to that destination. So I'd say it'll just depend on the price, because I don't think Coventry would try and rinse us financially. So
no, yeah. I don't think so. There was one guy on Coventry that really, really caught my eye. You remind me a little bit of Jack Grealish. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he was really good. But he was more of a 10.
Oh, he was a 10.
You could be right. But he was really good. But it's lower leagues football. It's not comparable with the Premier League, so it's kind of difficult. But it could be interesting signing a player like that. And this is signings I would like to see play come out of the blue, just come in and perform right away.
Sure. There are those gems in the there in football that you can just unearth a player that would come in and light it up on the Premier League. Just imagine how the other day I was looking at how even Jose Mourinho, when he got Drogba, nobody really knew Drogba as the Drogba that he would become that player. Like Wenger, when he got Henry, Wenger was almost considered a failure in Italy. It's one of those things where if you just get the right piece to complete the puzzle, it may end up like becoming like a master stroke when it was, just like a matter of finding a gem in the dust. So those diamonds do exist. We gotta just really take our time and look for them.
Colin McMenamin comes in and say, I've been to Brazil for a prolonged time, actually that's impressive. Londrinia, is that the name of the thing? The football was class. I played with the teenagers. They were good. As an Irish guy, I learned a lot, but South Americans traveling, and
that's
something.
Where's the follow-up, Colin? I want to know where you were landing, what you're trying to say, Colin. Well, at the end of the day, I think Brazil, we know that's like one of the
it's flair football. It's flair.
It's flair football, probably my favorite football to watch. So at the end of the day, shout out to the women's Brazilian team. They're doing really well. That's showing that it's in that DNA. That's where you find people that really, really, they go to sleep with the ball, Jarvis. They don't just play it on the pitch. They take it home, and if you actually get the right player, then
Quick question, Poppy. Who's your favorite Brazilian footballer? You in the VAR room, type out his name. I would just say quick. Mine is Ronaldinho. His time at Barcelona, he was, especially at the beginning, he was a magician, so funny to watch. It was a I don't know how to describe it, but he was a fantastic player.
Dynamic dribbler, versatile. You also just he never like, my favorite thing about Ronaldinho is like he did not repeat a single, like one move, like consistently. He always had something in his locker that so yeah, I like Ronaldinho very much. He's also up there in terms of my favorite players, but I think Ronaldo Nazario is also like a forward that was so explosive, so efficient. He made me do the step overs when I'm playing football. Like I just really, really, really like the shot power that he had, the efficiency in the dribbling, the way that, like, you just know that something special is gonna happen when he receives that ball. So
but who was your favorite? Give me a name.
It was Ronaldinho, but to be different from you, I'll go with somebody else. Rivaldo was also.
You agree with Lilis. Lilis come also win with Rivaldo. Rivaldo.
Yes.
Well, he lost my respect in the World Cup when he fell down, when the ball hit him in the shoulder or whatever, and holding his face, and he got that other player sent off because of that. But it's a little bit of, like, what do you call it? Trickery.
Rivaldo taught me the jumping over the ball. That's a possibility. And World Cup final versus, I think, was it Germany? I can't remember which team they were playing. But the moment where he just, like, I started doing that as well. They're talking about players that, like, I saw things and then went onto the pitch and try to implement what they were doing. But Rivaldo was mint.
Jale comes in and say Romario. Who can forget Romario? Especially his time at PSV Eindhoven in Netherlands in the beginning of the 90s. He was a fantastic player. What a player!
Bebeto was also.
Yeah, Bebeto.
He was not like a regular
but Romario was mint. He was the creme de la creme. He was the best player at his time. And I would say we have here Nazario.
Nice.
I don't remember much from Nazario. Where
It's
do we...
Ronaldo Nazario.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
The original Ronaldo.
The OG Ronaldo.
The
before-
OG.
Exactly.
Yeah.
exactly.
He was fantastic, especially in Barcelona. I remember him playing in Barcelona. And we have an uppercut from Stephanie Socrates. I don't know if you guys remember him. He played in Brazil 1982 World Cup and 1986 World Cup. He was actually a doctor by trade, and he was a heavy smoker, smoking 40 cigarettes a day. And he was a tall guy, skinny guy. He had like a little bit big hair, like curly hair, and he was so nonchalant on the ball. Fantastic football. I agree with you, Stephanie Socrates. What a player!
Ronald's comment also makes me remember that I tried my best to try and practice the Roberto Carlos free kick. I never could, but but that man has a technique that needs to be like put in a museum.
Yeah,
the way he the trajectory of the ball defies physics. That knuckle ball, like the curve, like it's incredible what Roberto Carlos could do with a free kick. And also just during like I think that was sort of like the evolution of like seeing fullbacks starting to have a big impact offensively as well.
Yeah, it was the beginning of the, like I would say, the modern fullback.
Yeah, him and Cafu were sweet.
I agree. And Stephanie comes in again. Zico.
Yes.
The White Pele was his nickname, I think. Fantastic player.
I mean, it would be amiss to not mention Pele as well. Pele was, even though,
but it was like before my time. I never saw him play.
Yeah. But when we're talking about great Brazilians, we have to mention Pele. Otherwise, the stream should be cancelled. So yeah, no, Pele deserves his accolades as well and his respect. So
Colin agrees. He comes in with the Zico 1982 World Cup, and that was actually the best Brazilian team in history, I would say. Almost. They were fantastic, but I don't know what happened. I think they were knocked out in the semi-final, or there was some kind of strange tournament set up that time. So there was, I think there was something happened, something, and they went out.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember right at now at the moment. And elite baller comes in, Adriano, Bebeto.
Talk about potential that did not reach, Adriano.
Where did Papi go?
I was connecting my computer, pardon me. Adriano, the story of Adriano for me just saddens me. I think he was never the same after his father passed away, but he was somebody with bags of potential, and I really admired his gameplay as well. So
thank you, Stephanie, for reminding me. The Brazil, they lost to Italy. Paolo Rossi, the Italian guy. He was the top scorer, 6 goals that tournament, and I think Italy won that in the end.
Yeah.
Oh,
Living Prophecy says Bebeto was insane, but I feel like the other player that was mentioned in the chat was by Mark was Danielson, who you bring on like 10 minutes till the end of the game, and he's you do the same thing that I did. But yeah, Danielson was somebody that I enjoyed. I feel like Anthony used to watch too much Danielson. That's what it is, because this is somebody that you bring in to come and make he's a showman of the game. Like I just loved how much he just took joy in dribbling players, and that was just incredible to watch. I miss Danielson.
Socrates was amazing, smoked like a train. Toot. Yeah, that's true. But if you look back at football in the 80s, they just walk with the ball. There's no high intensity like we are used to today. So the sport has evolved a lot. But for myself, I remember Mexico World Cup 1986 was like the tournament that I really started to follow football, and I fell in love with football and Diego Maradona and the Danish team, and there was a lot of things happening then. And Socrates for the Brazilian team. There's so many good players. What's the guy playing for France? They have a lot of good players. Now the president of UEFA, his name.
I'm blanking, and I think I know who you're talking about.
Platini. Yeah.
Yes. The reason
England had Gary Lineker. Remember, he was the top goal scorer of that tournament. I remember everything from that tournament.
Hey guys, come look at this. Come look at this. Elite Baller has a comment for the ages. My lord, I want to throw up. Paqueta, Bruno Guimaraes, and Joelinton. You might as well put Fred in there. Oh! I didn't see the trash icon. Okay, all right. I didn't see. I thought you were saying those are your favorite Brazilians, but that was funny.
Poppy, we are 2 hours actually and 50 minutes into the show. We are on 88 likes, so we didn't reach the 100. Do you want me to play the new chant or not? Should I do it?
I think you should, Jarvis. I think you should. Guys, come on, take a moment to hit the like button right now, because Jarvis is gonna release this song right here, guys. It's really easy. It helps the channel grow, and Stephanie says let's make it a 24-hour stream. I think I will get a few more likes after the chant as well. So let's hear it, Jarvis, shall we?
Well, I'm just gonna give credit to this guy. His name is Dermo. I don't have a lot of followers. He has 5,000 followers. Dermo, this guy. Dermo. Give him a follow on Twitter, because he made this song.
Derminho.
Dermo. Yes. Yeah, Derminho. Yeah. So he said, right, Kobe deserves a song. He scored a cup winner. We're playing the 115th next week. That's Manchester City. And by the end of the window, Dutch clogs may be compulsory at Old Trafford. So here's a banging Aaroon from tune of the Lad to the Dutch Euro chant. You remember that? So bring this up full screen.
Start it from the top. Start it from the beginning.
Kobe. Hey, no. Kobe. We're Eric and the army. We march away. We had to see United and the group that we play. Luna beating bastards. They thought they just don't know. You Kobe did the madness and we won the epic cup. Hey, Kobe. Hey, new. It's good. Eric and the army. We march them away. We had to see United and the group that they play. Luna beating bastards. They thought they just don't know. You Kobe did the madness and we won the epic cup.
Nah, that is a great one. That's a great one.
That will be a great chant for Kobe Mainoo. Can you imagine Old Trafford just going wrists and lengths singing Kobe?
Seriously. No, make sure you retweet that so that
I will retweet it.
We spread it around. But Kobe deserves he deserves it. He deserves it. And I like the final punch of that chant. They thought they would just turn up. But yeah,
Well,
no, great
I
one.
would say we leave that as the end of tonight's Jarvis's Corner. I'm thankful for Poppy staying on with me till the bitter end, and the fantastic people, guys and girls in the VAR room: Stephanie Griffith, Lilies United, Nutshell, Colin McMenaman, Elite Baller, Locker 45, Jan Vick. Who else do we have here? There's so many of you guys. I just have to scroll up a little bit. We have Mark, Ronald, The Living Prophecy, Leander. I can't. Yale Malmin. Thank you, guys. I'm really happy, and I appreciate you guys watching, tuning in every Monday. And now, Jarvis's Corner have become a thing. There's a lot of people watching, so
Yeah.
it's all thanks to you guys for bringing the love, hitting the likes, sharing, subscribing, and coming in with great comments. So it's been a fantastic show.
What's the like
Wow.
count, by the way? Oh, and look at that, Colin.
Colin. Thank you, Colin. Let's play the super
Let's
chat.
play it. Run it.
Let's play it.
Super chat, super chat, super chat.
Super chat.
Big
At the end, we have a super chat coming in from Colin. What a legend, Colin. He didn't even leave a comment. It's just a donation to the channel. Thank you, Colin. You are a legend.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. No, most definitely. Oh, at 91 likes. We were 9 away, but you know what? If you play that song again,
If you hit 100 next time on Jarvis's Corner, I will play the song again. And hopefully you will join me in the singing, Poppy.
Right. Yeah, I need to practice the words.
Yeah, me too. I just seen it a couple of times.
So,
but again, thank you, Colin. Thank you, everybody in the VAR room. Thank you, people watching. If you have just listened to it, because this podcast is also on Spotify, so you can just listen, working, lawn your whatever, and cook and work out and whatever, listening to Jarvis's Corner. It's a podcast. And thank you to Tom. He needed to go. He had an emergency. And thanks to Stu for being my co-host tonight. Next Monday, I will be away. I will be on holiday. I'm traveling to Spain tomorrow morning. So hopefully I can get Poppy and Stu to host the show. And I will watch it.
We'll be there. We will.
I will be in the VAR room.
Oh, so we can't get too reckless. Okay.
No. You gotta keep it in the spirit of Jarvis.
Keep it in the spirit of Jarvis. We'll do that, guys.
Any final words, Poppy?
No, I mean, I'm just happy that like the Premier League is coming. It is close. Wow, how many days away from the Community Shield? 4 days, 5 days. And then, as soon as we cross that Community Shield, we are into the Premier League territory. And I'm so excited. I obviously want us to get the reinforcements that we need so that we are really ready as a club, as a squad. But yeah, man, I've been suffering from the Premier League fever. So bring it on. Let's get this game going. So yeah. Everybody that's been tuned in, lots of warm gratitude from us. Don't forget, one more time, we're co-streaming. Jarvis's Corner has reached many platforms, Mark and Football Power Hour. And go hit a like, subscribe to the supporting channels as well, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your week.
Yeah, and before we go, I just want to remind everybody, if you can do me a huge favor. I know it's a huge favor, but after the show ends, click on the show again, go into the comments, the non-live comments, leave a comment, write whatever, as many comments as possible, because that will help the algorithms for YouTube to spread out the show to new viewers. So it's important. Leave a comment. Tell me your favorite Brazilian football player of all time, and we can continue the debate. So that's that's the end of the show. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one. Have a good night. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.